smaller than it was 3 years ago when Rahm had the program or administered the program, and is only I think 2,000 jobs larger than what Lori Lightfoot in her program for summer jobs. And I mean, we'll see.
What's the trade? So we get enough people jobs, or special waivers, insider deals, and in the process we strip everyone of their home value. We strip the overwhelming majority of residents of the opportunity to send their kids to a school that shows any promise in educating children. And now we're to, really turning the screws on you. I mean, obviously, we're always sort of in all of your pockets, directly and indirectly gambling, regressive taxes and so forth. And now, we're in your house too. We're regulating your stove, your washing machine. Oh, and by the way, now your dishwasher. Department of Energy proposed new appliance rules that would cut water and energy use limits for Americans' dishwashers well below current levels. The rules would require manufacturers to reduce their projects' energy consumption by 30%, and the water limit, 3.2 gallons of water per cycle. The current federal limit, did you know there was one?
I had no idea.
A federal limit on the water per cycle is 5 gallons. That's going to be cut by 40% to roughly to 3.2%. Isn't that exciting? They're in your, get government out of people's lives. Well, they're in your kitchen. They're in your laundry room. Right. Sure. Yeah. Scott McHenry, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, just going back to touch on the wood-burning pizzas. It's all part of the bigger push to crack down on us, when the reality is world emissions can be decided by people who still burn dung to cook their food and heat their water. It's the biggest malarkey that we've come across.
Thanks for the call, Scott, and good use of the word malarkey, by the way, too. Yes, right. Not to mention, the most populous countries in the world, places like China and India, where they're building coal-fired plants while we're attacking coal-heated stoves in New York at a pizza parlor. Right. We've got our priorities. Coming up at 5:38, White Lash. I have a feeling this is going to be the next celebrated tome by the left. We'll discuss. Now we check the headlines. Mike Scott.
Dan, thank you. 5:31, hazy skies and 58 in the U.S. announcing this morning another $500 million in a weapons package for Ukraine. On Tuesday, the Biden administration leaked that it would be sending more weapons, equipment, and armored vehicles to the country. Americans having to deal with issues at airports once again due to severe weather.
It's chaos down here. One woman behind me in line told me she's been told to be prepared to be stuck here until Saturday. Everybody is so stressed out.
That's in
People
New
are
York.
Yelling, people are mad.
That's in New York. According to FlightAware, over 7,100 flights were delayed within, into, or out of U.S. airports on Tuesday. The Marine veteran who used a deadly chokehold on a homeless man on a New York City subway train will be arraigned this morning. A grand jury earlier this month voted to indict Daniel Penny in connection with the May 1st death of Jordan Neely. Italian officials are calling for a man who allegedly carved his and his fiance's names into the Roman Colosseum to be identified and, quote, sanctioned, end quote. Ryan Louise is the American tourist who filmed the act.
I'm just flabbergasted. It's like, really? Seriously? You're really doing this? And he turns and gives me this smile that says I have no shame at all. And that was just dumbfounding as well. So I turned around, and next thing I had to do was find somebody to report him to.
The country's culture minister writing that it's very serious and unworthy and a sign of great incivility that a tourist is defacing one of the most famous places in the world. Exit, it was a wrong-way crash. A wrong-way driver caused the incident in Will County last night. Interior expressways and toll roads already seeing some activity, starting on the Kennedy, where it's 35 minutes already. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange and the Dan Ryan inbound. Rough sledding already between Pershing and the Chinatown feeder, 13 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds and sun, hazy conditions all day long, and a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, a high of 84. 59 right now. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. In for Amy this morning, however, is Charles Thomas, former ABC7 political reporter.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Wesley Lowery. Wesley Lowery is a columnist for the Washington Post, Amazon Post. He's Pulitzer Prize winner. You know, so's Nicole Hannah-Jones, the 1619 Project. He's got a new book out called White Lash. And he went on the CBS Morning Show with Oprah Winfrey's friends to talk about it. What is a white lash, you ask? Oh, Wesley Lowery's ready with the answer.
You know, in our country, our history is in a lot of ways a tug of war between two diametrically opposed forces. Forces of white supremacy, and I don't mean that colloquially, I mean the actual literal idea of a racial caste system, and anti-racist forces, people who have fought for a more just, equitable society, the abolitionists, the civil rights movement. And so what we see in that tug of war is that in moments of racial advancement, of racial progress, it's not inevitable that they've now won the grapple. That the other side of the rope always tugs back and pulls back. And so when we think back to 2007, 2008, right, we see this ascension of an unlikely black man with a funny name to the presidency of the United States of America. This comes at a time when immigration is fundamentally changing the demographics of our country. And what that meant was that for as many people were as excited for this victory, there were many people out there for whom this stoked an anxiety, a frustration, a fear. And we've seen
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Charles, I'm sure you're picking up what he's laying down, that, and it's positively quotidian, by the way. He talks like this sort of, empathetic intellectual, like he's just discovered the Holy Grail. And what he's offering is just sort of a dressed-up version of an argument we've heard before, which is Obama wins the presidency, whites get scared, they elect Trump.
You know, what I wish people like him would understand is that the forces of right, and I don't mean that in a political sense, I mean between right and wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, we're winning. America is winning. We actually live in this space together, and it's something that we should be proud of. We should be celebrating it every day. Instead, you get people like this who only talk about it in a negative sense. Now, I don't have any problem with the word nationalism if you talk about American nationalism.
Patriotism.
Yeah, if you want
Right.
to call it that. I mean, whatever. But we should be proud and hold ourselves up to the rest of the world. Hey, look at what we've done since 1619. We've won. We are winning. We are striving toward that ideal set forth in the Declaration of Independence. Now, the Constitution fell short of the Declaration, but we are still working on it, and we're winning.
Well, and that actually the better word for nationalism or America first is the better synonym is exceptionalism. That's essentially what we're saying, that America is different than other countries, and we should protect those differences. We should guard them jealously, the good ones, the ones in which we live up to the principles that were articulated in the Declaration. Exactly.
We're not there yet. I mean, believe me, we are not there yet. But we have more to be proud of than we have to be ashamed of. And I'm telling you, a lot more.
Well,
and I'm just not speaking about, people who are making a lot of money or whatever. I'm just saying that, particularly if you're a black person, where else you going to go and get this? You go to Africa. I've been to Africa. And, man, people in Africa are crowded in airports looking for any chance they can get to come here. What's happening on the border right now? What's happening there? Why are those people swimming, getting in the Rio Grande River to come here? And what's going to happen when you have these people who are speaking so negatively about America? They lose it, and they're going to find out. They're going to find out that they've lost. They've lost a great. I'm not going to say it's the greatest country ever, because I don't know. But I know that right now, if you go anywhere in the world, you're not going to find anything like this. And
they may long for the days of being oppressed by this
my
patriarchy.
Goodness, man. I mean, they believe me, they will long for the day of being oppressed by. I mean, back in the 1920s, first half of the 20th century, a lot of black entertainers and thinkers would go to France. They would go to France to get out of the racism, out of the Jim Crow. Now it's exactly the opposite. You go to France, you got your racism, buddy. They want to come here. Black folks in France want to come here to live. I mean, your Josephine Baker, your Charlie Parker. They went to France. Not anymore, man. Not anymore. It's just the opposite.
Well, note the words and the dichotomy that Wesley Lowery uses: white supremacy versus anti-racism. So he's applying a very au courant construct to race relations. It's terribly misleading, and it also is not reflective of what's happening, which is the point that you were making. But anti-racism. So this is the mantra of the race hustling left, the identitarian left, which of course includes the race hustle, but it's not limited to that. And so here's the completion of what you could see coming, the banal explanation of Trump's victory.
The polling showed that Americans were divided by how much progress the election of a black president represented, that actually white Americans believed it presented more progress than black Americans did.
Yes.
And by the end of the Obama administration, a majority of white Americans believed they were racially discriminated against. Why does this matter? Because it starts to explain why we have the success of a movement like the movement that elects the former president Donald Trump. It helps explain why politicians use things like the appeal yesterday from Ron DeSantis to ban birthright citizenship, for example. These plays to kind of a nativist feeling of the country is changing, things are different, a reactionary movement that's very powerful, but as I lay out, is not just about political rhetoric, that has real life consequences for real people.
No, what?
It's so important what he's saying. You're hanging on every word. I mean, honestly, a freshman in high school could write this book, could articulate this argument. It is ubiquitous in the public domain. Ubiquitous. There's nothing new here, but it is worth addressing because this guy is going, I'm telling you right now, White Lash is going to be treated in the same vein as How to Be a Anti-Racist and White and Robin DiAngelo's book, White Privilege or whatever the hell it was called. I'm forgetting now.
Black folks don't pay any attention to guys like that. Black folks are being manipulated by black political leaders who play the same game, only they play it in a different way. And they are using the black folks who are economically disenfranchised against the system. they will go out there and act as though, for instance, I remember Tony Preckwinkle a few years ago. She was running for something, and she was focused only on the Cook County Jail, and I want
Yes,
to reduce
right.
the population
That's
of
right.
the Cook County Jail. I'm going like, wait a minute. What about the black homeowners? They'll pay the taxes. You're not representing them. All you want to represent are the people in Cook County Jail. Or you overemphasize that, and not those who are actually out here working every day, trying to buy a home, trying to keep their children in a good school. You're not focusing on the black middle class.
But here's the thing. So,
Anymore.
and by the way, Robin DiAngelo's book, White Fragility, blanked on it. But here's the thing, though. So you're right. So maybe a lot of black people are not listening to Wesley Lowery, but that's not the audience, and you know it. The audience is white suburban women. It's the same. It's Ibram Kendi's audience. It's Robin DiAngelo's audience. It's the 6019 Project audience. This is going to be in classrooms. This is going to be part of a syllabi at the collegiate level. Wesley Lowery, Pulitzer Prize winning author, white lash. Oh, let's talk about it in all the race studies programs at every university. That's where this is, and so it's the Malachi Crunch. It's the sort of the pseudo intellectuals for other dilettantes that go to college and live in Hinsdale. And then there's the community activists and the politicians who translate it down into the identitarian race hustle that you see at the street level.
But where the race hustle is having its worst effect, and that is with young black teenagers, young people, the youth, because they are being given this sense of hopelessness. And that's why we see what happens during the so-called meetups, all of the acting out. Like, why would you do that? Why would you ruin your life? Why would you want to become a stick-up man as opposed to using the school that you have to get the best out of it? We have a hopelessness that is beginning to pervade our youngest generation. And that is the real problem that the race hustler is causing in the black community. We're getting man, when I was coming up in the game in the 50s and 60s, yeah, I had stuff I could definitely complain about. I didn't have an opportunity. I was statutorily denied an opportunity.
Right.
These kids, they have opportunities.
Well, but
they're not using them.
Here's what happens, too. This is interesting. It's a piece by Henry Shue over at Fox News, and he is the founder, president of Color Us United, which is sort of anti-woke, anti-identitarian. We've had him on the show before. But he cites this survey that was done at Birkbeck College by our friend Professor Kaufman. Really interesting. Ta-Nehisi Coates, he's another one. Cost Lab. You always see him. College campuses on with Gayle King on these talk shows. Again, black intellectual that of the left, and so sort of cemented as one by the white media. But the survey found that when black Americans read a passage by leading critical race author Ta-Nehisi Coates that says, "In America, it's natural to destroy the black body," the percentage of black people who say they're in control of their lives falls from 83% to 68%. So to your point about, you tell people you're a victim, you tell people there are people coming to get you, whether it's police or just honkies in general, and some percentage is going to believe it.
A large percentage believes it because it basically it saturated the media. When you have Joy Reid on MSNBC, who is a Harvard-educated woman, talking about all the pathology that's affecting the black community, and I look at her and say, well, what about you? What happened to you?
No. She went to Harvard, but no. You understand? She made it,
right?
But she's,
how does she make it?
She's Joy Reid. That's why. No. Who else is Joy Reid? Nobody else is Joy Reid. See, I'm Joy Reid. You can't make it without Joy Reid. Joy Reid made it because she's Joy Reid, but other people can't make it because they're not Joy Reid.
But I mean, you can go person to person to person and say everybody's got to be an exception. I think that's what Tim Scott with one of the
Yeah,
points
right.
he was making in
Yeah,
an
right.
interview he did at The View, that why do I have to be the exception? I'm not an exception. I just used what was there and I made it. And I think people have to begin to understand that you can do more today than you could in 1963. You absolutely
Of
can.
course.
But use it. I'm saying that we need to tell our young people to use it.
Something else, though, too. I mean, this Wesley Lowery thing, he mentioned DeSantis at the border and talking about ending birthright citizenship. Here's a question for him. We'll try and get him on the show. I doubt he'll come because, he needs an audience of people like Gayle King. He's not used to pushback. Wesley, is there any possibility that DeSantis is talking about ending birthright citizenship because of the lawlessness that has been emblematic of our border policy for 40 years? In other words, do you think there would be a conversation about ending birthright citizenship if not for, what are we up to? 2.5 million illegal crossings in the last year, 700,000 gotaways, people on the terrorist watch list that our federal law enforcement doesn't know where they are. In other words, if the federal government is doing their job, do you think people would be focused on the border? I don't think so. If DeSantis and Abbott weren't shipping migrants who want to go to places like New York and Chicago to those sanctuary communities, do you think people would be and you think people on the South Shore would be worried about a migrant shelter that's set up at their old high school? No, I don't think so. It's happening because of the consequences of terrible public policy. And so now people want big fixes. And birthright citizenship is not targeted to any particular minority group. It's birthright citizenship. I mean, the elimination of it, whether you're from the Czech Republic or from Mexico. But Wesley Lowery can't contemplate that as a part of the conversation because you see he's got everything force-fed into this funnel of white supremacy versus anti-racism. And that explains everything to him.
And unfortunately, that is being used as an explanation for everything for a lot of people. But I think that what African Americans or Black Americans have to understand is that once this, in another 20, 30 years, this country flips and there's no longer white people, that there's this huge group of people from all over the world. We're going to be petitioning that society for our equity. And what are they going to say? When the society is not majority white, they're going to say, "Hey, we had nothing to do with that. With what happened to you." And if racism ended tomorrow, if it ended today at 3 p.m. and we had a great party tonight, what would a black person have to do tomorrow morning? Racism's gone. You're going to have to go to work. You're going to have to go to work, and you're going to have to compete with everybody else in this society. And at that point, we have to have that realization somewhere in our thought process that's got to happen, and we got to start teaching our young people that that's their prime objective, because that was the prime objective of my father and my grandfather and his father. They struggled. You just can't sit back and complain about America.
Right. See dominion over your own life. All right. But when we come back, actually at the top of the next hour, we'll take calls on this. There's a little bit more I want to get to on this topic, and I'm sure Charles wants to opine as well. So we'll get to your calls. 312-642-5600, Turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
If your money is not earning at least 5.25% tax deferred, you need to call Professional Life and Casualty. They're offering a 5.25% APY on new funds deposited into your annuity, traditional IRA, or Roth IRA accounts. Rate subject to change. Please call to confirm. With Professional Life and Casualty, you pay no surrender charges, no administrative fees, and no withdrawal fees. Professional Life and Casualty has been providing insurance and annuity products for over 60 years. Visit plcinsurance.com. plcinsurance.com. They'll send you a free guide to tax-deferred, no-fee annuity. Earn 5.25% APY on annuity, traditional IRA, or Roth IRA. Pay no surrender charges, no administrative fees, and no withdrawal fees. Only from Professional Life and Casualty. Call 1-800-651-1800. That's 1-800-651-1800.
America First with Sebastian Gorka. Today at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer. WIND.
He keeps trying to blow the whistle. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The IRS agent who claims President Biden's son Hunter got special treatment in a years-long investigation that led to a tax evasion misdemeanor plea deal.
If this was any other person, they likely would have already served their sentence.
And Gary Shapley tells CBS News he was not allowed in the investigation to pursue any leads related to Hunter Biden's business dealings that could involve his father. Republican Congressman Mark Alford alleged on Fox.
The big guy is on the take, and he has compromised America. He is in the pockets of the communist Chinese government.
President Biden has denied any involvement in Hunter's business deals and has called allegations malarkey. Today, the president will go to Chicago as he runs for re-election to tout what's called Bidenomics.
What is Bidenomics? The White House is glad you asked. They just released this statement. Bidenomics is already delivering for the American people, they say. Our economy has added more than 13 million jobs, including nearly 800,000 manufacturing jobs, and we've unleashed a manufacturing and clean energy boom.
Fox's Doug Luzader, former President Trump, trying to win that job back.
We built the greatest economy in the history of the world.
Well, that was in New Hampshire, where the former president also reacted to leaked audio of him in 2021, supposedly showing off a top-secret document. Evidence in the criminal case against Trump over the handling of classified materials he kept. The former president claims he did nothing wrong and is a political target.
If you were losing or if you weren't a candidate, would have no problem. But they don't like it when we're leading, and we're leading by a lot.
At least 10 people are dead, more than 50 injured in Ukraine after another Russian missile attack.
Rescuers pull a survivor out of the rubble of the Ria Lounge restaurant in Kramatorsk. The downtown shopping and dining area was struck on Tuesday evening as locals tried to enjoy dinner. There's already an overnight curfew, but Russia's threat arrived earlier than usual.
That's Jonathan Savage. America's listening to Fox. 59 degrees. We have hazy skies. 6:02 is our time on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 2 died overnight in Will County. Another person was critically hurt in a head-on crash along southbound I-55 near Wilmington. It was caused by a wrong-way interstate driver. The scene of that wreck was between North River Road exit and the Kankakee River. A 16-year-old boy is dead following a drive-by shooting on the west side. Police say the boy was walking down the street yesterday in the 4100 block of West 15th when someone from inside of a car opened fire. There is no one in custody. President Joe Biden returning to Chicago today, delivering an address on the U.S. economy and lining his pockets with re-election campaign cash. Chicago Alderman Bennett Lawson is condemning what he called a teen takeover on the north side this week. Hundreds of teens gathered Monday night in Lakeview near the Belmont CTA station for what turned into a massive riot. Video posted on social media shows teens illegally blocking streets, damaging vehicles, a police squad car, and causing thousands of dollars of personal and private property damage. The family of a teen who was pinned to the ground last year by an off-duty Chicago police sergeant is suing. The family filed suit against Sergeant Michael Vitellaro less than 2 weeks after a judge found him not guilty of battery and official misconduct.
We firmly believe that the outcome of the criminal trial was wrong, period. So we press on, and we will fiercely fight for justice and accountability, which we have every right to do.
A woman who sued former Chicago radio personality Eric Ferguson is dropping her suit. The suit by former assistant producer Cynthia DiNicolo accused him of coercing her to perform sex acts, then retaliating against her at work when she stopped complying. Other women came forward with allegations of workplace misconduct by Ferguson. That forced him to leave a radio show he had hosted for 25 years in 2021. Lawyers in the Ferguson case were due in court yesterday, preparing for a January trial date. Court records show DiNicolo requested to dismiss litigation last week. Cubs are on a 2-game losing skid following a 5-1 loss to the Phillies at Wrigley, while the White Sox lost to the Angels 4-2. The Blackhawks secure their future during the first round of the NHL draft in Nashville tonight. They have the first and 19th picks overall. Connor Bedard, the heavy favorite to go first. The news service of the AM 560 mobile app. You can text the word app to 64636. And a check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
How far will the left go to win 2024? Will they send out more stimulus checks or give away trillions more to left-wing groups? The simple truth is they don't care if your retirement is eroded down to a fraction of its value. They just want to win. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. I want to encourage you to diversify your 401k or IRA out of paper assets and into a physical gold IRA. And the only company I recommend for gold IRAs is conservative-owned Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898 to get their free info kit on gold IRAs. Do this now before Democrats have a chance to legislate away your life savings. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting PROTECT to the number 989898. There's nothing to buy and no obligation at all. So use your agency. Take action now. Text the word PROTECT to the number 989898.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Imagine trying to eat 31 different kinds of produce in a single day. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a lot to me. Luckily for us, we don't have to worry about that. You can get the benefits of 31 whole fruits and vegetables by taking a few capsules of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies, making it the perfect, quick, on-the-go, easy solution to get more produce in your diet. Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
6:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Inbound on the Edens, 19 minutes, Lake Cook Road to the junction. Kennedy inbound 37, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Ike inbound 39, 390 into the old post office. Stevenson 34 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan manageable right now, 15 in 95th into the Burns Circle. Stop and go traffic northbound on the tri-state between the Reagan and the I-88 merge to the outbound line. Police activity is shutting down Marquette east and westbound between Damon and Bell Avenue, again due to police activity. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Sunshine, a few clouds today. Distant wildfires causing some haze. Look for a high of 84. Partly cloudy, shower and thunderstorm tonight, low 68. Some sun tomorrow, strong thunderstorm. It'll be humid, the high tomorrow at 91. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
59 at O'Hare, next news 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J. This morning is former ABC7 political reporter Charles Thomas.
Good morning.
Good morning, and Charles and I were discussing this interview attended to a new book by Wesley Lowery, who's an Amazon Post columnist. The book is called White Lash, and it's going to be given the placement, my prediction, in places like college classrooms, coffee clutches in the suburbs, that the identitarian tomes of Kendi and D'Angelo and Coates have gotten. And the thesis, everything can be explained by forcing it through the funnel of whiteness. It's all the struggle between white supremacy and anti-racism that explains everything in the world. All socio-political issues is basically his statement. And the concern he has, which also is quotidian, I mean, this guy, watch this interview. This guy is such a self-important gas bag, and he's like so affected, like college professors. The problem with the white lash, in other words, the backlash against the election of Barack Obama, that seems to be something that's central to Lowery because of the anxiety of whites. The backlash, or the white lash, to borrow his phrase, is so important because it leads to actual violence.
That what we see time and time again in this era is actual violence, and that's violence against Jewish people, Muslims, black people, immigrants, and that violence, we think about it through our political lens very often, but we have to think about it through that human lens, that when we demonize groups of people, whomever those people are, immigrants, refugees, black Americans, talk about crime, about gender and sexuality, that people out there really do get scared, and that for those of us from those minority groups, it could cost us our life.
Yeah. White Christians not included in the list.
This guy's white, right?
No, he's black.
So he's black?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's saying that white people are
coming for you.
Coming for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Just so you know, I wanted to give you the heads up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, when I go out to get the car in the morning, I'm looking for white people, man, because they're out there riding. They're riding deep, man.
I mean, MAGA country there in Streeterville isn't that far from you.
MAGA, yeah. But if I see the red hat, I know to go the other way.
Right.
But if I haven't seen, see him on TV.
Yeah. So demonization, the irony, of course, is lost on the deep thinker Wesley Lowery, that he is cautioning against demonizing groups of people based on their identity while demonizing a group of people based on their identity.
Yeah. But he works at the Washington Post, right?
Yeah.
He goes in there every day.
Pulitzer Prize winner.
He's a Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah, so I'm told.
Well, it's a lot of white people working at the Washington Post.
Well, those are the good white people.
Oh.
There's not enough of them. The white Trump voters, the anxious white Trump voters, those who may attend a DeSantis press conference where he lays out an immigration control plan. Mm-hmm. Those are the bad people that are coming for you.
Those Trump people.
Or DeSantis people.
That's a lot of them.
Well,
it's like 70.
That's why it's so serious. That's why he wrote a book about it.
People, man.
Yeah, right. You never know. It could be lurking, just outside these studio walls. You just don't know,
God.
Charles.
And
there's only
could be here?
there's only so much I can do. I'll do what I can.
I don't know about you, man.
Well, sure, exactly. No, I know. But people like me, conservative, somebody voted for Trump, is to be treated with great suspicion, because whiteness is not just about the construct, Charles. It's so much more.
There are people who will say, well, I don't feel this experience. I don't feel particularly privileged. I don't feel particularly in a better position than other people. That what we have to remember is that when we talk about race, when we talk about whiteness, we're not talking about biology, right? We know there's no biological race. So we're all humans around the table. Right. That we're talking about a social construct, and that whiteness in an American sense is not even just about skin color, right? But it's about this idea and this concept of who is truly American in this idea. And then when we see these political appeals to let's go back to how things used to be in the good old days and
we saw make
America great again, or America first, right? That appeals to people's sense of this country changing and it shifting and it being different, and that perhaps they'll end up being the losers of history.
Because all white people identify with other white people. We're all part of the same exclusive club. We all think alike. We all have the same viewpoints, aspirations, fears, and so on and so forth. Right. So as I said, everything can explain. Everything in the world can be explained through the prism of whiteness, and it's white supremacists versus anti-racists. Choose your cohort.
So, I ask people like him a lot, what is the end game here? Well, where are we going with this? I mean, give me a vision of America 50 years from now. Can you do that?
So glad you asked, because he was pressed. Well, so what are the fixes? All right, one more clip, then we're done with this dude.
But I do think a huge part of it is that
you have some thoughts.
Yes, I do have some thoughts.
You have some thoughts.
I think we have to be willing to look things in the eye and call them what they are, right? Because when we accept that this type of political rhetoric has real-life consequences, it demands of us to treat it more responsibly, to call out people who do it, not to play silly games or what is this an appeal to or we don't know or how is it. I think that so often in the Trump years, our institutions needed to be bolder and clearer about defending
our journalistic institutions you're talking about.
All of our liberal institutions.
It's the fierce urgency of now, Charles. These institutions failed us because they were not aggressive enough in opposing President Trump and his supporters.
So what's the end game?
Really?
I mean, where is he going? Where are we going with this? Does he want to just let's just
they're saving lives.
Junk this this thing called United States of America and just redo it? What's he want to do? I mean, particularly when white people become the minority, then what do we do?
Well, you said
at that point.
Well, then the purge continues. Only increases in pace, I suspect, as we've seen in other places. I mean, you said something before the break about what would happen to black Americans if racism was eradicated tomorrow. And it's an interesting thought question, but of course the real answer is, if it was eliminated tomorrow, Wesley Lowery and others would tell you it wasn't. It will never be eliminated because there's just too much benefit to saying not only that it exists, but it's around every corner, right? I mean, this is all these hate crime hoaxes. What is it? It's basically saying if we don't have the supply we need, we'll create it because the demand is insatiable.
That's what's happening everywhere, because now they're actually, there are people out there who have to manufacture racial situations.
Yes.
In order to, if Daniel, what's the guy in New York's name?
Daniel Penny.
If he wasn't white, I don't think we'd even be hearing so much about this. That was a black person who brought down Jordan Neely, and the same result happened. I don't think we'd be hearing about it.
Well, let's put it to the test.
Not every day.
No. What's the name of the guy Jordan Williams killed?
I have no idea.
Exactly. But everybody knows who Jordan Neely is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Glenn Lowry, no relation, spells his name differently. Also, Glenn Lowry is a serious academic. You know him. We have him on the show before. He's a celebrated economist, Brown University economics professor.
His son works here in Chicago.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, Glenn
Alden Lowry.
Glenn Hale. Oh, well, Shelby Steele, South Side. Does Glenn Hale from Chicago? He has a Chicago connection other than his son. I'm forgetting. Anyway, he wrote this piece. He reprised this piece that he wrote in 2015 over at his Substack, and he does a podcast with John McWhorter, which is really good too. This is Glenn Lowry writing in 2015 in opposition to an article being removed from the Brown University student paper because it was allegedly racist. Okay, the details are not material, but this is 8 years ago. Glenn Lowry writing, the notion that Brown University, or any other elite American university for that matter, needs a revolutionary reshaping in order to become hospitable to students of color. The idea that anti-black pedagogy at Brown needs to be countered with some mandatory indoctrination of faculty. The proposal that external student communities should review purportedly racist departmental appointment processes. The initiative of creating specialty positions in academic departments to ensure their openness to hiring faculty of color, all of which have been proposed in recent years. These are all mischievous intrusions on the academic prerogatives of a distinguished faculty, which no self-respecting scholar of any color should welcome. They are steps now well advanced onto the slippery slope that slides down into intellectual mediocrity, and I will have nothing to do with them. Well, 8 years later, we're a lot farther down that slippery slope. Take some calls. Paul and Carrie, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I'm just curious, does Lowry, the race hustler, ever address in his diatribe or observations how Obama got elected twice? Was that all the guilty Hinsdale moms? And why, in fact, did Hillary lose when she ran against Trump? Did she represent the black vote? I fail to understand.
Thanks for the call, Paul. Well, the white supremacists came out of the woodwork to elect Trump in 2016 because of their anxiety over a two-term president who was black.
Well, and a lot of those white supremacists who voted for Trump voted for Obama. I mean, they voted for Obama.
Their white supremacy was latent.
Yeah. Yeah, but they did.
That's a good point. Yeah, that is it's true, but that doesn't work for Wesley Lowry, so he just sort of hustles past that. Verlon, Southside.
I want to direct this at Charles.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Charles, I gotta set the premise by half disagreeing with you. Earlier, you made a statement saying that black people haven't caught up to the reality that we're living in today. Well, I want to say the black people of your age, you're right about. But the black people that's Dan and my age, they've bought into the grievance and victim industry. So I just want to set it up by half, like I said, half disagreeing with you.
Okay.
Now, you being of a conservative mind, what do you do when black progressives or black activists approach you and say, don't you want to fight for this cause like what you were saying earlier, white supremacy, or like against Trump, he's a white supremacist trying to keep us down, or like a Phil from Blue Island would say, it's a system in place that keeps black people down in every aspect, or the Second Amendment. Do you want to amend the Second Amendment because in our community it affects us in a negative way, or just pick the issue they will come to you
first
about?
Of all, I would.
Thanks for
you said I'm of the conservative mindset. I believe that what I express is common sense, as opposed to a conservative mindset. Although I'll allow that. I tell progressives that we have to begin to reconstruct the community by reconstructing the black family. I'm saying the same thing essentially that Elijah Muhammad said, that Marcus Garvey said, that Booker T. Washington said. I mean, this isn't anything new. We've just gotten away from it. We have to reconstruct the black family first in order to reconstruct the black community. And that's what I believe personally. I come at this from a Christian perspective, without a doubt. There's no doubt about that. But a biblical view, that's me. That's just who I am. But that's what I'll explain to any of these progressive people who I know they're hustling. They know I know they're hustling. They know that. They know they need to talk about racism all the time. And in order to get paid, essentially, or get the votes they need, or from the Democrat Party, they need that. This is all a big hustle. I get it, but I hope I answered the question. I mean, I don't want to go into detail about Second Amendments and all that because we can go on forever with that. But that's where I'm coming from. Common sense.
Frank in Arlington Heights.
Hey, good morning. You guys were talking in the last half hour about the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and how those had to be reconciled and so forth. And I think that part of this issue is we should understand that both of those documents were heavily informed by a lot of the colonists' experience and their families' experience with indentured servitude. John Vanderzee wrote a really good book back in the 80s called Bound Over, and I think it was something like 55% of all the colonists were either indentured servants themselves at one point, or their families were, and the justice system in the colonies, and even in Britain, because there were a lot of people kidnapped who were brought over here. That really informed both of those documents. It really did, and it informed the Revolutionary War as well. And so I think that we got to keep that in mind when we're talking about the Declaration and the Constitution, that those are both informed by those experiences, all the different amendments and so forth, and the protections that we have. Something to look at, something to think about.
Good point. Thanks for the call, Frank. Mike, Littleton, Colorado.
Yeah, good morning, guys, and thank you for taking my call. You had mentioned the other day, Dan, you used the term Trump adjacent, and I just find it, these guys know psychology, and they've expanded that bubble from starting out with Trump's little inner circle to his family, to his cabinet, to Republicans that supported him, to now everybody that doesn't vote for them is, anti-American. They're a supremacist, white supremacist. And Charles mentioned the other day that Trump had to become kind of a martyr. He's right. This has got nothing to do with logic or anything at all. If the alternative is Trump to these people, they're never going to bite. Joe Biden could rob a gas station in the middle of the day and get caught on camera, and it won't make a bit of difference.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You don't need to starve yourself to achieve a healthy weight. Candace Rosen's latest book, Forget Dieting, eliminates the guesswork about weight loss. As the pioneer in glucose monitoring for weight loss and improved health, Candace Rosen believes the pancreas is the gatekeeper of poor health versus good health, weight loss versus weight gain. Whether tuning in or testing your blood glucose 90 minutes after you eat a meal or snack, you can leave dieting behind for good. Get the book today and start feeling better tomorrow. That's Forget Dieting at Barnes & Noble or Amazon. Candace Rosen believes in the practice of self-health. You are your primary caregiver, and your physician is just your secondary caregiver. Remember, it's never about the weight. It's about what excess weight represents, present or future poor health. Food is medicine. Forget Dieting. It's all about data-driven fueling. Order Forget Dieting. Available at Barnes & Noble or Amazon.
Imagine trying to eat 31 different kinds of produce in a single day. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a lot to me. Luckily for us, we don't have to worry about that. You can get the benefits of 31 whole fruits and vegetables by taking a few capsules of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies, making it the perfect, quick, on-the-go, easy solution to get more produce in your diet. Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
When life ends, your legacy begins. Ensure your legacy lives on at Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, with 47 locations throughout Cook and Lake counties. Take advantage of 0% financing, lock in today's prices, and safeguard yourself against rising inflation. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
Are you a business owner with a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, and a plan for growth, but you just need the right bank? Hi, Mike Gallagher here, letting you know that Signature Bank is all about going the distance for commercial banking customers. It's what Signature Bank does every day. Their team understands that accessibility is key to their culture. In times like these, you want a bank that is there for you to weather the bad times and capitalize on the good. And with Signature Bank by your side, you can't go wrong. It's a true partnership. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right, I'm a customer. I believe in what they have to offer, from innovative tech and customized solutions to help your business grow and thrive. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors in Roselle. Summer is here, which is the ideal time to brighten things up around the house and let the sunshine in. Make the rooms in your house that appear small, dark, or dingy look better and bigger with larger windows or patio doors. Our highly skilled craftsmen can enlarge openings if your space allows. For decades, Woodland has been transforming living spaces with Marvin windows, featuring styles ranging from modern to traditional. Marvin replacement windows and doors can also bring your backyard right into your living space. Ask us about connecting the inside to the outside. When you welcome a Woodland sales expert into your home, you'll get a product expert, a design consultant, a budget hawk, and someone who has your best interest in mind. Our professional services, along with the best products and installation, are why we are proud of our great online reviews. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at 6:36, so this is fun. More Hunter Biden text exchange with Chinese communist businessmen. And Hunter Biden gets deposed today. We'll go through that in pertinent part with Kevin Brock, former assistant director of Intel at the FBI, at 6:36. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
6:32, hazy skies and 59 degrees. Ukraine's counterintelligence service is saying this morning that a man has been arrested, and they're accusing that man of helping Russia direct a deadly missile strike into an apartment building and restaurant that killed 10. Meantime, the U.S. is announcing another $500 million weapons package for Ukraine. France's government announcing heightened police presence around Paris and other big cities, calling for calm after scattered violence over the death of a 17-year-old delivery driver. Rudy Giuliani, a member of Donald Trump's inner circle, who sought to overturn portions of the 2020 election results in some battleground states, has been interviewed by investigators with the Justice Department's Special Counsel's Office. Americans are having to deal with major issues at airports once again due to severe weather. This passenger was at LaGuardia in New York.
It's chaos. Been told to be prepared to be stuck here until Saturday. Everybody is so stressed out. People are yelling, people are mad.
Over 7,100 flights were delayed within, into, or out of U.S. airports yesterday. Former Maryland police chief will likely spend the rest of his life in prison, convicted of setting fires, targeting people he saw as enemies. David Crawford was the former chief of the city of Laurel, found guilty this week of a dozen charges. 2 died late last night in Will County. Another person critically hurt, all involved in a head-on crash, a wrong-way crash along southbound I-55 near Wilmington. 16-year-old boy is dead following a drive-by shooting on Chicago's west side. Police say the boy was walking down the street yesterday in the 4100 block of West 15th when someone inside a dark-colored SUV opened fire. There is no one in custody. A Chicago woman is suing the city after prosecutors dropped charges against her and her teenage son following a deadly shooting at a Chicago hot dog stand last week.
Never in a million years would I have imagined being brutally attacked, beaten.
Carlisha Hood and her 14-year-old son were charged with murder in the June 18 shooting of Jeremy Brown. Deerfield-based Walgreens announcing plans to close more than 100 stores nationwide by August of 2024. Shares of Walgreens sank after the company said in part it was hurt by lower COVID-19 vaccine and testing sales. Cubs lost to the Phillies 5-1. White Sox lost to the Angels 4-2. Blackhawks pick first tonight in the NHL draft in Nashville. The news, a service of MyPillow. Big news. The brand new MyPillow 2.0 is now buy one, get one free with promo code LIBERTY. That's MyPillow.com. Use promo code LIBERTY. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Sean Thompson Show.
The feeble fascist and the entire upper echelon of the Democrat Party is a big, giant, pay-to-play scheme mafia. They get to lie with impunity, and they lie knowingly. And what does the lie lead to? The fact that the sitting president, although he doesn't know it and he's sitting in his own urine, the sitting president is an asset of enemies, foreign. We know. And we also know about the domestic, but we're used to unions.
The Sean Thompson Show, weekday afternoons at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
If your money is not earning at least 5.25% tax deferred, you need to call Professional Life and Casualty. They're offering a 5.25% APY on new funds deposited into your annuity, traditional IRA, or Roth IRA accounts. Rate subject to change. Please call to confirm. With Professional Life and Casualty, you pay no surrender charges, no administrative fees, and no withdrawal fees. Professional Life and Casualty has been providing insurance and annuity products for over 60 years. Visit plcinsurance.com. plcinsurance.com. They'll send you a free guide to tax-deferred, no-fee annuity. Earn 5.25% APY on annuity, traditional IRA, or Roth IRA. Pay no surrender charges, no administrative fees, and no withdrawal fees. Only from Professional Life and Casualty. Call 1-800-651-1800. That's 1-800-651-1800. 1800.
Gatto Industrial Platers, Inc. is the specialist in zinc and zinc nickel plating. Gatto is big, they're good, and they're easy to work with. Their high production rack plating line has up to a 27-foot capacity to handle any zinc plating requirement. Gatto's 210,000 square foot facility can process 300 tons per day and offers complete custom packaging with available pickup and delivery in the Chicago metro area by Gatto's own fleet of trucks. All of Gatto's products are inspected and certified to ensure that each customer is receiving the best and most cost-effective plating protection. Gatto is home to King Kong, the largest zinc plating line in North America that can zinc plate parts up to 27 feet long and weighing up to 8,000 pounds. For a quote and fast 24 to 48-hour service, call George Gatto Jr. or George Gatto Sr. at 1-800-290-1223. That's 1-800-290-1223. 1-800-290-1223.
It is 6:38. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. And this update is a service of Lowe's. Shop the best deals of the summer now at Lowe's. Save big on select patio furniture and accessories with up to 50% off. Lowe's knows 4th of July savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offer valid through 6/28. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Inbound Edens at 18 Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy climbing rapidly now 45 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Stevenson, solid numbers between Harlem and Kedzie. 48 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Tri-State, due to an accident, we have a left lane blocked northbound between 159 and Kedzie. 6:39 on AM 560, The Answer. Time to visit signaturebank.bank. And time to continue on with your AM 560 weather forecast. Clouds and sun today. Hazy conditions, high of 84. We may see an afternoon thunderstorm. We have a better shot at a major shower or thunderstorm overnight with a low of 68. Showers and storms could continue into the morning hours tomorrow, then hot and humid and a high near 90. 61 at O'Hare, 59 along Chicago's lakefront, and we have actual developing fog this morning in Aurora, where it's 51. Next news at 7, Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. America First with Sebastian Gorka, today at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Charles Thomas, former ABC7 political reporter, as you know, in for Amy J this morning.
Yeah, you're rocking some green onions, Booker T.
Yeah.
I hear you.
All right, we turn to all things federal law enforcement now. And obviously, I want to get to the developments in the Hunter Biden Inc. investigation, case, cover-up, whitewashing, spiking. New text from Hunter Biden to his Chinese Communist friends has been unearthed. There's new evidence from testimony released from IRS whistleblowers that we need to talk about with our friend Kevin Brock. But I want to start with January 6th, just because this video that's circulating, and I want to get his take on it. You know, you talk about January 6th, and you ask questions about, like, law enforcement involvement, confidential informants that federal or Capitol Police may have used. What did they do? Were there any instances of instigation? And this is not to say that people didn't of their own volition do things that were illegal and wrong and shouldn't be prosecuted. Should they be put in a hole for a year awaiting trial? No, I don't think so. But you can hold these two thoughts together. I know that those on the left and the Never Trump crowd can't, but you can. You can say people did wrong on January 6th, those rioters, the people who trespassed and vandalized public spaces and so forth. It should be prosecuted. And you can also say that there are instances where prosecutors have behaved badly. We know that in the QAnon shaman case, where they withheld exculpatory evidence, which is a violation of the rules of evidence, okay, for the law and order, the newfound law and order types on the left, and some in the Never Trump crowd as well. That's for example. And you can question the denial of bail, and you can question the disregard, this report out yesterday, shown by law enforcement to intelligence about January 6th and preparation. And you can disregard President Trump saying explicitly, go to the Capitol and peacefully protest, which is what he said from the podium. And you can disregard the escorting of people around the halls and no real good explanation of that. You can just invest all of your belief into the Star Chamber and the show that was put on by Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger playing useful idiots to the congressional Democrats. You can do that, but I'm not going to. Okay? So there you go. this exchange between police officers, ostensibly from January 6th, talking about how to identify non-uniformed officers in the crowd.
There's a guy that was just up here, short guy, dark hair, black vest, thin blue line thing on, dark hair, and he's got like a little 27 or something on his hip. No police identification on him at all. I couldn't get to him because there were so many people. But just keep an eye on white male. White male, dark hair. All right. It looked like a grayish black, maybe a digital
Do any of your
fatigue.
non-uniform guys have any identifiers, like wristband?
They will have a wristband. Their guns will have a candy stripe on the barrel.
Okay.
I don't know the wristband color, but they'll have a wristband somewhere, okay?
So you hear one ask the other that's in uniform, how do you identify the non-uniform cops? And he says they'll have a wristband, they'll have a candy stripe on the weapon. Now, again, to not go too far the other way either, beyond what we know, I mean, it's fine to have non-uniform police there. It doesn't bother me in and of itself. It's just a simple question. Who did what when on that day? And I don't know why asking a simple question like that draws such ire from the Dems and the Never Trumpers. Well, I do, because they don't want to have a room temperature discussion about what happened. They've decided it's an insurrection. They've decided everybody's an insurrectionist, whether you did anything illegal or not. You're an insurrectionist if you supported Trump, and this is a way that they can continue to demagogue not just Trump, but his voters. For more on this, Kevin Brock, former Assistant Director of Intel for the FBI, former Principal Deputy Director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Kevin, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan, Charles. How you doing? Hey, before we start, I just want to let you know that I'm sitting here with my father, so be careful what you say because I hold a grudge.
You know, Kevin Brock, Charles, is the rare G-man with a sense of humor.
Oh.
Yeah, very good. All right. We will make sure that those WhatsApp messages are subpoenaed, by the way.
Yes, please.
What about sort of that snippet from Jan 6th and just sort of where things stand as the Jan 6th events continue to be somewhat shrouded in intrigue and otherwise demagogue beyond any recognition?
Well, the questions you raise are the important ones, and that is, I mean, it's one thing to have a police presence or a law enforcement presence anticipating, some type of violence, but was there any action taken by law enforcement that cajoled, encouraged, fomented, where something might not have happened if that wasn't present? I worked white supremacists, racist Aryan nations way back in the day when I was a young agent, and it was a common tactic for us to infiltrate those groups with informants and undercovers because we could. It was easy. It was easy to flip those people and make them informants. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was groups showing up that had members that were already talking to law enforcement, whether it was the FBI or their local law enforcement. So the presence there doesn't surprise me. What we're looking for, as you raise, is an instigation factor, and that's still something that's being fleshed out. I think what January 6th did show, subsequently has shown since then, is given more meat to the conspiracy theory that there's a two-tier justice system in this country, because there's a perception out there that there's been robust follow-up on this, as there should have been, where there was not an equally robust follow-up on the Antifa riots during the summer of 2020.
And just on that score, we saw a story earlier this week that Paul Abate, the deputy director of the FBI, who won't tell the Senate Judiciary Committee much about anything related to Hunter Biden, was put the word out within the agency saying, anybody questioning our handling of J6 as compared to, say, the rioting that took place in the summer of 2020 after George Floyd's murder, that's not going to be tolerated, and so on and so forth. That was essentially, basically it was a shut your mouth directive.
well, that's fine. Then come out and transparently demonstrate the actions that we're taking during that summer against those rioters. Right now, the American people are left with perception that there's uneven application of a willingness to investigate, pursue, and charge that there was against the January 6th protesters. Let anybody who broke a law pursue them with vigor and pursue them even-handedly. Right now, that perception is out there. So, Paul, whom I know, is his answer should be, "Let us show you what was done."
And rather than that, it's always, any invocation, law enforcement actions on January 6th or things related to Hunter Biden can't tell you. It's means and methods. It's an ongoing investigation. It's this and it's that. It's just a never-ending evasion. And you say, well, and it just goes sort of years on, hoping people forget, lose interest. I mean, this is how you have a 5-year DOJ investigation into Hunter Biden's tax filings and gun application.
Yeah, exactly. And I've always said it's the duty of the leadership, the director and the deputy director of the FBI and the leaders in the FBI to reassure the American people that the FBI is operating in a nonpartisan way. You cannot hide behind all the time. You can't hide behind, well, it's an ongoing investigation, we can't comment. That doesn't work anymore. And there's plenty that can be said that can reassure the American people that things are being pursued and done in an even-handed way. And I'd like to see more of that.
Talking about the Hunter Biden investigation, he's going to be deposed today in the civil defamation case that was filed by the computer repair shop owner in Delaware against Hunter Biden for lying about he's this and he's that. He stole my computer. He did this and that when he abandoned it. So forth. Anyway, we got another email, WhatsApp exchange. This is from August of 2017. Hunter Biden telling his associate with this Chinese energy company that he was, I guess, they're partnering on. The Chinese communist adjacent individual Gong Wendong, he's texted this message: "The Bidens are the best I know at doing exactly what the chairman wants from this partnership." The chairman is Yi Jianming, a Chinese billionaire that's tied to the CCP intelligence gathering agency. He is now presumed dead after he disappeared. So anyway, yeah, the Bidens are the best I know at doing exactly what the chairman wants from this partnership. This after the one you joked about earlier in the week from a month earlier. Hey, Henry, make with the money or my dad and his friends are going to be angry with you.
Right.
So
my dad can beat up your dad.
Yeah. And we're supposed to believe from David Weiss, the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, that the investigation into Biden Inc. is ongoing, or at least Hunter Biden is ongoing. What do you believe as you've seen this plea agreement announced on the tax and gun charges, as you're seeing the testimony from IRS whistleblowers, as you're seeing these text messages being made public by House Republicans? What's your handle on this whole investigation into Biden Incorporated?
My concern is that the current Department of Justice is doing everything it can to suppress an investigation and investigative results against the Bidens, the president in particular. They're in full protection mode. They have demonstrated over the years that they will do the president's bidding, all the way from doing an early morning search of journalists for his daughter's diary, absent any federal charge, to mounting a full-blown search, a kinetic search of a former president's residence. All of these things are unprecedented coming out of a Department of Justice. So they've shown that they're willing to do the bidding of the White House for political goals. The thing that's been most striking to me, Dan, is the absence of a Foreign Agent Registration Act charge as part of this plea agreement that they reached last week with Hunter Biden. Where are those charges? It's clear that from all his emails that he was doing business with foreign entities and receiving a lot of money, yet no evidence that he ever registered as a foreign agent. Now, granted, as people have pointed out, that's federal law that's rarely, if ever, investigated. Well, it was investigated once when Crossfire Hurricane was opened up as a Foreign Agent Registration Act violation based on bar talk by a Trump campaign person saying, hey, the Russians have reached out and said they've got some dirt on Hillary Clinton. So they opened up a FARA case on that, and yet all this other...
Paul Manafort.
Now they got a mountain of evidence that Hunter Biden was doing business with foreign entities and not registering. Where are those charges? Why weren't they part of a plea agreement? So, it's becoming harder and harder to argue against the perception of a bifurcated justice system in this country. But when it comes to the Bidens and the email that you just, or the WhatsApp that you just referred to, where he's referring to the Bidens in the third person, clearly indicates that he's leveraging the power of his father in all of his business dealings.
Mm-hmm. Question here from Charles.
Yeah.
Aren't the Chinese business people on the other side of the line here, aren't they potential devastating witnesses against the Bidens? And how would they fit into the mosaic here?
Well, they would be if you could reach them, and they would be responsive. They live overseas. It's hard to serve them with a subpoena that they would honor. But yes, they would be devastating witnesses and could corroborate a lot of this.
And they are controlled by the Chinese government, the Communist Chinese.
Well, that's right. And that's going to be Hunter Biden's defense. How can you believe, a bunch of Chinese executives who are controlled by the Chinese Communist Party? So, Charles, it would be a nice thing to see and have developed, but I don't see that as a eventuality.
So, the question that we put to you before, and I appreciate you continuing to come on the show to get beaten up. You're sort of like the punching bag for the FBI here, but the rank and file, it's a leadership problem. The rank and file. Does it really matter at the end of the day if the FBI as an agency wields its power illegitimately? And if it can't demonstrate that it can wield its power legitimately, then it really doesn't matter how many great field agents the agency has, does it?
Fair point. And that's why I say it's a responsibility of the leadership of the FBI to make sure this doesn't happen. And that damage was done by Comey. It seems to be continuing a bit now. Afterwards, where hard questions are being asked and not answered, and so it leaves hanging out there a belief that maybe they are not acting in a bipartisan way or an objective way. Dan, it's getting harder and harder to defend. I will say that the FBI has maintained that they did follow up investigation on some of these allegations, but were stifled by the Department of Justice going forward, and we've got evidence of that happening as well. So it's not all FBI. There just seems to be a consolidated effort to make sure that when it comes to the Bidens, a different system of justice is administered, and we saw that last week with the plea agreement, where he's not going to really suffer any consequences for some massive tax evasion and a very meaningful gun charge that a lot of people have gone to jail for in the past.
He is Kevin Brock, former Assistant Director of Intel for the FBI, former Principal Deputy Director of the National Counterterrorism Center as well. Kevin, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, gents. Bye.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Sign up today for an unforgettable experience in Israel this October. Dennis Prager and I are traveling back to the Holy Land on the Stand With Israel tour with our trusted partner, Inspiration Cruises and Tours. Visit standwithisraeltour.com and sign up today. This trip of a lifetime to Israel is one you won't want to miss. Register today before it's too late. Go to standwithisraeltour.com, standwithisraeltour.com, or call 855-565-5519. That's 855-565-5519.
Imagine trying to eat 31 different kinds of produce in a single day. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a lot to me. Luckily for us, we don't have to worry about that. You can get the benefits of 31 whole fruits and vegetables by taking a few capsules of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies, making it the perfect, quick, on-the-go, easy solution to get more produce in your diet. Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer. News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com. On the AM 560 mobile app. Tune in, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
Here we go again. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Canadian wildfire smoke making it tough to breathe in the U.S. Air quality readings at hazardous levels around Detroit, Michigan, in the very unhealthy category from Milwaukee to Cleveland to Chicago.
The hazy air has led to beaches closing, events like movies in the park at the Museum of Science and Industry being canceled, and CPS moving its summer programs indoors.
Fox 32 TV's Casey Cronus. That wildfire smoke will also again spread over parts of the Northeast, weeks after air quality was so bad there was almost off the charts. Poor visibility, severe weather, and technology upgrade issues have been making air travel difficult. More than 4,000 cancellations the last 2 days across the U.S., and FlightAware reports nearly 700 more flights canceled today. President Biden will fly to Chicago today to tout his economic agenda. Director of the National Economic Council, Lael Brainerd, says the job market is strong and
real incomes are up, especially for lower income workers. Small business applications are at record high. And today, while we have more work to do, inflation's been coming down for 11 months in a row.
Now, Republicans blame Biden's spending for creating surging inflation last year. The president remains under scrutiny over his son's business dealings. And while he denies involvement, House Republicans released more messages from Hunter in 2017 suggesting otherwise.
Following the messages released last week that showed Hunter used his father to pressure a Chinese associate. That message came out of testimony from an IRS whistleblower who claimed there was political interference in the federal investigation into Hunter Biden. And that whistleblower also said federal prosecutors blocked any questioning about President Biden.
Fox's Brooks Singman. It's up to 10 dead in Ukraine after a Russian missile attack turned a crowded restaurant into rubble. Rescuers pulled survivors out, more than 50 injured. Actor Kevin Spacey going on trial today in London, charged with sexually assaulting 4 men. He denies it, claims the media turned him into a monster. America's listening to Fox News.
Partly sunny, hazy skies, 61 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 2 are dead after an overnight crash in Will County, a wrong-way crash on southbound I-55. It critically injured another as well. 2 were found dead at the crash scene that shut down I-55 for several hours because of that double fatality. Chicago area dealing with some of the worst air quality in the world. Smoke from mismanaged forest fires in Canada moving into the region. Mayor's chief of staff saying poor air was similar to that of a weather event.
This is what we would call an extreme. Just as we have extreme heat, extreme cold, this is extremely poor air quality that we're encompassing at the moment.
Large cities around the Great Lakes like Milwaukee, Cleveland, and Grand Rapids, Michigan, saw even worse air quality. A 16-year-old boy is dead following a drive-by shooting on Chicago's west side. It happened in the 4100 block of West 15th Street. No one is in custody. President Joe Biden returning to Chicago today. Biden in town delivering an address on the U.S. economy. The president also lining his pockets with re-election campaign cash at a fundraiser led by Governor J.B. Pritzker. But Republican Congressman Darren LaHood says Biden isn't popular in the state outside of Chicago.
Where we're producing our own energy, so much of our
inflationary problems as it relates to businesses and manufacturing and companies and individuals is energy independence, getting back to that. So we're not relying on our foreign adversaries.
LaHood remains skeptical that any plan by the president announced today will ease statewide concerns over the economy, inflation, and gas prices. The FBI asking for the public's help in locating a suspect involved in a bank robbery in Western Springs Tuesday afternoon. The FBI responded to the FNBC Bank and Trust located in the 1000 block of Burlington Avenue. Cubs lost to the Phillies 5-1. White Sox lost to the LA Angels 4-2. All eyes on the Blackhawks tonight. They have the first pick overall in the NHL draft in Nashville and number 19 in the first round. Connor Bedard has been the heavy favorite to go number 1 overall. The news, a service of Dan and Amy 24/7. Listen now. DanandAmy247.com. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka is on Team Trump.
If you support anyone except President Trump, it means that you're fine with political persecution based upon the fact that he's got an R after his name. I don't want to live in that America, and I would hope you don't too.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
How far will the left go to win 2024? Will they send out more stimulus checks or give away trillions more to left-wing groups? The simple truth is they don't care if your retirement is eroded down to a fraction of its value. They just want to win. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. I want to encourage you to diversify your 401k or IRA out of paper assets and into a physical gold IRA. And the only company I recommend for gold IRAs is conservative-owned Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898 to get their free info kit on gold IRAs. Do this now before Democrats have a chance to legislate away your life savings. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting PROTECT to the number 989898. There's nothing to buy and no obligation at all. So use your agency. Take action now. Text the word PROTECT to the number 989898.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Want to remodel your kitchen or bathroom? There's only one name to remember: ForEverRemodeling.com. Not Core Ever Remodeling or Door Ever Remodeling or Explore Ever Remodeling. It's ForEverRemodeling.com. Need an addition or whole home remodeling? Don't call 1, 2, 3 Ever Remodeling. It's ForEver Remodeling. Want to finish your basement but don't know where to turn? It won't help to think of Store Ever or Snore Ever or Score Ever Remodeling. You want ForEver Remodeling. ForEver Remodeling is your go-to for the highest quality kitchen, bathroom, whole home remodeling, room additions, and basement finishing. So don't go to Decor Ever Remodeling or Implore Ever Remodeling or Dinosaur Ever Remodeling. When you're ready for your project to take off, go to 1098765 ForEverRemodeling.com. That's the number ForEverRemodeling.com. Or call us at 847-809-3355.
Democrats just want to win the next election, and they're trying to do it with ceaseless money printing. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. It is critical to protect your retirement right now with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get a free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. There's nothing to buy and no obligation at all. Text the word SHELTER to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
7:07. Let's get an update on the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. We'll start on the Kennedy, where it is 1 hour from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Kennedy on the outbound side right now is 32 back out to the big airport. The Ike inbound 54 heavy minutes, 390 into the old post office. Stevenson adding up to 37 right now from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. 8094 stop-and-go traffic westbound between Clay and Martin Luther King Drive. Bolingbrook an accident, Route 53, and Briarcliff. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Clouds and sun today. Some haze from distant wildfires. Look for a high of 84. Partly cloudy, shower, thunderstorm tonight, low 68. Periods of sun, strong thunderstorm for tomorrow. Could see some damaging wind and flash flooding, the high 91. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Worried about basement flooding? It's time to call Permaseal 800-421-SEAL. 61 at O'Hare, 59 Lakefront. Your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning is former ABC 7 political reporter Charles Thomas.
That's me.
And I am in for myself. This letter I referenced yesterday in our conversation, Charles, with Ted Dabrowski, but we never really got to it, and I want to get to it. This is a letter that was picked up by Dennis Rotkin over at Cranes, sent by Mike Connor, who's an agent with At Properties, Christie's International Realty. Chicago, now's not the time for quitters, writes Mike Connor. It saddens me to hear of people who have decided to leave the city. He mentioned crime and the cost of living, two of the reasons most often cited for pulling up stakes. Yeah, no kidding. But he said, for people who made their career and livelihood in the city, it seems to me that there should be a sense of obligation to the place that created the opportunity for you. After his letter, Mr. Connor said he got 25 or 30 emails supporting him and 3 that told him to F off. I wonder how many of the 25 or 30 emails were from fellow realtors who have a real incentive for people to stay. It's not a great real estate market if everybody's fleeing. I know you get to sell, but yeah. Anyway, among the replies he got was one from a woman who's also a realtor, actually, in Naperville. She's a former longtime resident of Chicago, now lives in Harwood Heights. She said, I don't think parents with kids in school have time to invest in waiting for the city to change or helping the city change. They can come back later if it changes, but you can't have to ask them to stay if they don't feel their kids are safe. The question. Seems to me there should be a sense of obligation to the place that created the opportunity for you. What say you, Chicagoans? And I guess you could apply that to the suburbs as well with respect to staying in Illinois more generally. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
You know, the guy makes an emotional appeal, and I feel it, man. I mean, Chicago, man, it's a beautiful, beautiful city, physically speaking. And
lovely architecture.
It tugs at my heart when I think about it, and I think about the possibility of having to leave. But then the dollars and cents come into play, and if you get to the point where I'm retired, I can't pay the taxes. When is that going to happen? And when I can't pay the taxes, or I see that day on the horizon, I gotta go. It's a dollars and cents decision after a minute.
Cents, C-N-T-S, and S-E-N-S-E, too. Sense and sense.
Well, common sense.
Yeah.
Again, we go back to that phrase, common sense. And if you're a young family, and you look at the school situation, and you have to make a decision, no matter how much you might love the city or the idea of the city. At some point, I mean, money talks. What do they say about the rest of it?
It walks. Mario Greco is a Berkshire Hathaway home services agent who lives in and focuses on Northside neighborhoods. I get calls saying I want to get out of here or let's move our search to the suburbs. It's been going on since COVID in 2020, but this year, he says, quote, it's gotten a little bit more forceful, unquote. Derek DeSera is a Compass agent and multifamily property investor in Irving Park, who says several of his clients who expected to live a long time in the city are voting with their feet. Recent clients have left Chicago for Barrington and Wilmette with crime on their minds. It's not the only reason people leave, but it's one of them. DeSera recounted that after a carjacking near their Bucktown home, a couple told him, we're done, and began looking at homes in Elmhurst. So is that what you wait for? You wait for the carjacking that affects you, and then it's real, I guess, for some people. The flip side, too, of course, you have people that are dug in. The same agent, DeSera, said a neighbor sitting on his front porch one morning called out to thieves who were about to steal a catalytic converter from a car parked a few doors down. The man told Sierra that the thieves then pulled up in front of the man's yard and yelled at him, do you want to effing die today? However, that didn't scare him. They have 4 kids, but they're staying. Going back to the real estate agent who got this all started, Mike Connor. I will not deny Chicago's problems, he wrote, but bad news goes viral and gets exponential attention in our culture. Chicago remains an unbelievable city, an incredible historic powerhouse. It seems to me that if everybody put their effort into trying to improve it instead of leaving, the problems are solvable. Are they? Well, no one questions that they're solvable because it just really requires the application of a little common sense in these areas of public safety and K through 12 education, a little bit of reimagining and changing the incentive structure that now the incentive structures that drive how these agencies operate now. But it's not that they're not solvable. It's that the political will isn't there to solve them. And where does that come from exactly? That's the real question for Mike Connor. I mean, this is a lot of, magical thinking. It's a great city. Problems are solvable. Let's stick around and pull together, so on and so forth. Those are wonderful bon mots, but, translate that into concrete action steps. Can you? I can't.
Well,
not realistic ones.
I look at downtown Chicago, and I still see some cranes in the air around the West Loop area. I mean, cranes that were put there, those deals were made many, many years ago. And I have to think that if money talks, that some of that money is going to begin to assert itself and say, hey, look, we got many billions invested in this city. You're nodding your head.
It's going to walk.
Shaking your head.
It's the money.
It's gonna walk.
If the money was going to talk, it would have talked a long time ago. It's walking now.
Well,
I mean, really. The C-suite types are going to step up and do what?
Well, they're going to put the pressure on the powers that
they're going to put pressure on BLM Brandon and the Marxists in charge of the city council.
The Marxists in charge of the city
council.
Is
that what's going to happen?
They want to redistribute the wealth, man. And yeah, you're right.
First, you get the money.
Huh?
First, you get the money report.
First, you get the money, but maybe you're not going to get the money. Maybe I don't know, man.
I know.
That's the hopeful part of me.
I know.
That's the.
I mean, I hate to
never say die.
I don't want to be a
optimist in me that people will come to their senses at some point.
I don't want to be a wet blanket here, but year over year, I saw the story. Year over year, Chicago area home prices, at least in some neighborhoods, are up a bit. Yeah, but it's a terrible long-term investment. You can't outrun the math. You can have blips, but you can't outrun the math. Case-Shiller Index, last 20 years, real home values for the top 10 cities in the country. Chicago performed the worst since 2000.
I can tell you that personally.
9% real increase in home value, so adjusted for inflation, since 2000. Las Vegas, New York, Washington, Boston, Denver, San Francisco, San Diego, Miami, LA, all, significantly. Like all of those other cities have seen at least a 40% increase in real dollars since 2000 in home values.
And you know
Chicago's
what?
at 9.
I can tell you I've seen a 40% increase in my property taxes.
Well, and
I can
that's
tell you
why
that.
it's at 9.
Yeah.
Because no amount of sort of the natural inflationary pressure to push up the values of real property can outrun the pace of the property taxes, and then you bring in the other problems too. Somebody else who opined on this, apparently and I'll let him know on behalf of all those leftists. Bruce Rauner, he was the governor of Illinois, you remember. He is not a resident of Illinois anymore, but he had the temerity to comment on what's happening in Chicago and Illinois. And everyone knows if you leave Chicago and Illinois or Illinois, you're no longer allowed to comment on it.
That's what the mayor says.
Yeah. So if
no more,
and Jelly Belly, and you can have 7 homes all over the planet, but it doesn't. Hey, look, if you're not on terra firma 183 days of the year in this city, then you can't comment on the city or the state. Then you can't comment on the state. I don't care how long you've lived here. That's it. You're out. Silence. So hilarious. Here's Bruce Rauner. So that's about all I agree with Bruce Rauner about what you're about to hear, because Bruce Rauner was on with Flannery. And, oh, man, honestly, this guy. And you wonder why we're in the situation we're in, where you had an opportunity for Republicans to, pop up, and they got this Quisling and Rauner. Listen to this.
He's now a registered voter at a home in the Florida Keys.
So many of my friends have retired to Florida, so it's pretty easy call. I'm also deeply, deeply concerned about the future of Illinois and how far gone, how far left, and how dramatically the fiscal situation has continued to deteriorate.
Rauner spoke to us from his ranch house in Montana, where he says he sometimes sees former Chicago Mayor Rich Daley.
And I cry. When I see Rich Daley out here in Montana or various places, he cries about what's going on in Chicago.
Rich Daley and Bruce Rauner cry at his compound in Bozeman about what's happening in Chicago, wherever he is.
Crying.
Whitefish Bay. I don't know where he is.
Crying. Sound like Roy Orbison.
That's great. One of the best, by the way, as a quick aside. A great song, one of the great artists. But let me tell you something.
What?
One of the best solo performances ever. Watch Katie Lang sing Crying solo at a MTV Unplugged session.
Okay, well, I have to check that out, because, Roy.
That's great. It's a great song.
Roy is the man.
He is the man.
Yeah,
he is the man. But Katie Lang, I got to tell you, I mean, wow. What's happened to Katie Lang? Where is she?
What were we talking about?
Well, we're talking about crying, because Bruce Rauner and Rich Daley are up in Montana crying about what's happening in Chicago.
Yeah.
Does that make you feel better?
Well, yeah. I mean, like, you're crying in Montana. Why aren't you here in Chicago crying?
I would expect. I would expect Rich Daley to be crying in Beijing about what's happening in Chicago. But hey, I'm glad he's got time to visit his old buddy Rauner in Montana.
But the parking consortium is overseas, right? That's in Europe.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He cries with Bill Daley over the cries with Bill Daley over the parking meter deal. Yeah, but I mean this crying about Chicago. But this is the attitude, though, that you get from the C-suite, which Bruce Rauner was for so many years. I'm just as upset about it. I'm crying about it. We're gonna get to have lunch at the Chicago Club, and we're gonna work up a white paper to solve the violence in Chicago. We're gonna put a fresh coat of paint on this thing, because it's really just a marketing problem. Just got to spruce it up, and it'll bring people back, rather than address the endemic problems, because there's no political will to deal with who's in charge. Sean and Darien, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Simply put, this Mike Connor is an idiot. The city's dead, the state is dead, and people like him that have that mentality are just, they don't believe what's right in front of them. It's kind of pathetic. You have, real simply put, you have to have an exit plan. I've told you before, I've got one, and I cannot wait to get out of here. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Sean. Catherine, Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin.
Hey, Dan and Charles. I left Chicago in 2017. I mean, I just felt it changing. It became a huge money grab. I mean, the red light cameras everywhere, pay to park everywhere, even in the most ridiculous neighborhoods where you wouldn't even expect it. And so it's a pain in the neck. Taxes are high. I felt people walking around with a victim mentality. People are angry, and you can just feel it. I mean, of course, there's crime happening everywhere. And I used to live around Smith Park, around Grand and Western. And after I moved, it was 5 in the afternoon. There was a shooting there, like days after I moved to Wisconsin. I still have a business in Chicago. I don't like to go there. And I drive a manual trans, which is a theft-proof car, at least.
Yeah.
I don't like to go there. And I used to love, I was Miss Urban. I mean, I was the one who would go to all the new restaurants, go to all the theater. Now everything is woke. I drive around. I see pride flags everywhere. I mean, it's disgusting.
Thanks for the call, Catherine. I got to tell you, I'm the same camp, and I've said this before on this show. You can heap all the scorn you want at me for being a Florida resident. Go ahead. Join the party. Still involved in nonprofits here. Was a subscriber to Lyric and to Shakespeare and to CSO. Season tickets to all the sports teams of Real Sports. Sorry, John Cass, it does not include soccer. So not the Fire, they're called, or something.
Something like that.
But Bears, Bulls, Sox, Cubs, part of Blackhawks ticket groups. All that's gone.
You know, I used to go to.
And there's a lot of people, just like me.
I was a Sox season ticket holder because I could always get downtown, ride the red line, and come back.
Oh, no riding the red line.
I don't go to the game anymore. I didn't get tickets this year because I couldn't ride the red line, and that was my habit. But I will not get on the red line because I can't come home on it.
But you're the bad guy. I'm even more the bad guy. Catherine in Pleasant Prairie is a bad girl. Okay, go ahead. You tell yourself that, the people that like to heap scorn. You continue to tell yourself that. You believe the beautiful lies. You listen to the bromides about let's all pull together and do something or other. You really have no idea. Go ahead. And you think the situation will improve. Maybe you don't even think it needs to improve. It's just city living, as some people have deluded themselves into believing. Go ahead. There's going to be you're going to be, at the end of the day, another decade or two when you are talking to your friends about ROI on homes and the quality of schools and other reasons that people moved for a better situation on those scores, you'll be kicking yourself. There were opportunities. There were windows of opportunity. The Republican Party failed. So I guess by extension, I failed. The political ruling class failed. This electorate failed when there were opportunities. By the way, including, at least I put myself out there. I ran for governor. I ran campaigns. I did battle. A lot of people can't even say that. And yeah, those windows have now closed for a period of time. And I don't know what that period of time is, but like so many, I'm not really wanting to bet the rest of my life on that period of time. You know what I mean? Monica and Lyle, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah. I was going to say it's only a matter of time for all the crap that's going on in Chicago to hit the suburbs if it hasn't already hit yet in little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But I will tell you one thing. When I was at Oak Brook Center, nobody was putting up with the crap that was going on. I see armed security everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking just security guards. I'm talking cops. It's interesting to see it. On the one hand, it's disconcerting because it just reminds you of some sort of banana republic with armed soldiers. But on the other hand, at least it makes my shopping experience a lot safer.
Well, safer, but
Thanks for
is
the call,
it better?
Monica.
Is it better?
Well,
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, safer, with cops everywhere.
What's the debate going on in Highland Park right now? The fight in Highland Park. This is the fight some people want metal detectors at the high school because of what happened last 4th of July, as we all know, and some people don't. Some people want it because they have an irrational fear of guns because they're leftist, and some people don't want it because they have an irrational sense of their status and they don't want it to seem like there's any problems in the as Ravi Bajwa would call it, a community of 30,000 friends up there in Island Park. Yeah, okay. So it's more examples of the delusions. We use delusions in lieu of political willpower to do what we know is right. Matt in Birmingham, Alabama.
Hi, perfect example. Move out of Geneva down here. We had a 1,700 square foot ranch house in Geneva, $10,326 a year in property taxes. The school's ranked 1,462 nationally. Moved down here to Birmingham. We're in a gated community, 4,000 square foot house. Spain Parks, 1,042 ranked nationally. Our property tax is $2,901 per year.
Yeah. Right. Do that math.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
You may have heard some talk about the ERC, that's the Employee Retention Credit. It's a federal program that provides small business owners like you up to $26,000 per W-2 employee in payroll tax refunds to your business. What's not to like about that? Just one call to Careful Accounting Associates at 800-315-8175 is all it takes to find out if you qualify for quick funding with one of our accredited funding partners in as little as 72 hours. Our process has been thoroughly vetted by a team of experienced tax attorneys and CPAs, and our refund specialists will work tirelessly to get you every penny your business deserves. Plus, with our exclusive audit assistance guarantee, your business is protected. Call Careful Accounting Associates now at 800-315-8175. See if you qualify for an ERC advance payment and get the cash your business needs to succeed. That's 800-315-8175. Your small business may qualify to receive up to $26,000 per W-2 employee in employee payroll tax refunds. Call 800-315-8175 now.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
It's a big deal because your finances are a really big deal. Wintrust Community Banks would like to announce our newest and greatest 11-month CD rate with a whopping 5.35% APY. Act now and you can lock in 5.35%. Just go to wintrust.com/locknewrates and start earning more. Annual percentage yield accurate as of May 5th, 2023 and assumes funds remain on deposit until maturity. Minimum daily balance of 1 cent required to obtain APY. $1,000 minimum to open. New money only. Offer may change at any time and without notice. Member FDIC.
AM 560, The Answer.
There he is, Katie Lang, I'm telling you. This will stir something in you, Charles. You listen to this. Wait for it to hit the high note. This is Richie Daly and Bruce Rauner. Listen to this in Bozeman, Whitefish Bay, somewhere. Yeah. I mean, that voice. That's a great voice.
Going out to Rich and Bruce.
Yeah, Rich and Bruce. Rich and
Helena,
Bruce.
Wherever it is.
Stiff
Jackson.
upper lips. Stiff upper lips, gentlemen. Coming up at 7:37. Speaking of not having political willpower, it's going to be on display today as the big guy comes to town to promote Bidenomics. What's that? Steve Moore will tell us at 7:37. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Yeah, Katie can sing the phone book. She's pretty awesome.
Incredible.
61 degrees, hazy skies, but sunshine behind that haze. At 7:33, Ukraine's counterintelligence service has arrested a man accused of helping Russia direct a deadly missile strike overnight that killed 10.
Rescuers pull a survivor out of the rubble of the
The downtown shopping and dining area was struck on Tuesday evening as locals tried to enjoy dinner. There's already an overnight curfew, but Russia's threat arrived earlier than usual. Dozens were injured, an eyewitness saying he saw dead people, people screaming, huge chaos. President Zelensky said Russia should face the consequences of its actions, defeat and a war crimes tribunal. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Meantime, the U.S. is announcing another $500 million in a weapons package for Ukraine. Jurors in Florida will continue deliberations today. They'll do so in the case of a former school resource officer, Scott Peterson, who's on trial for his response to the deadly shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High 5 years ago. He refused to enter the school. Federal Reserve slated to release its 2023 stress testing results today on big banks. Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley is laying out her approach to dealing with China.
America is China's #1 target. The question is, what are we going to do about it?
Haley accused the Biden administration of allowing China to get the upper hand on the U.S. militarily and economically. Two are dead overnight in Will County. Another person critically hurt. It was a head-on wrong-way crash southbound on I-55 near Wilmington. A 16-year-old boy is dead following a drive-by shooting on the west side. It happened in the 4100 block of West 15th Street. President Joe Biden returning to Chicago today, talking economics.
Unemployment is at historic lows. We've seen inflation come down by 50% over the last year.
White House spokeswoman Olivia Dalton with the spin. President is also lining his pockets with re-election campaign cash at a fundraiser led by Governor J.B. Pritzker. The family of a teen pinned to the ground last year by an off-duty Chicago police sergeant is suing. Family filed suit against Sergeant Michael Vitellaro less than 2 weeks after a judge found him not guilty of battery and official misconduct.
We firmly believe that the outcome of the criminal trial was wrong, period. So we press on, and we will fiercely fight for justice and accountability, which we have every right to do.
And a lawsuit filed by the ACLU of Illinois claims Chicago police officers are more likely to pull over black and Latino drivers than white drivers. The suit is asking a federal court to ban CPD from targeting predominantly black and Latino neighborhoods for a high volume of traffic stops. Cubs lost to the Phillies 5-1, while the White Sox lost to the Angels 4-2. The news, a service of MyPillow. Big news, brand new MyPillow 2.0, buy one, get one free. Machine washable, dryable, a 60-day money-back guarantee. MyPillow.com, promo code LIBERTY. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager sees something off.
What they are really against is the notion within the West that there should be economic growth. One should learn to enjoy life with economic shrinking. The idea that we want the economy to grow is a bad idea. These are sick people. Every leftist is sick.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Amanda Zanger, owner of Black Industrial and Safety Supply in Hammond, Indiana, and a business customer of Signature Bank. Prior to owning my own business, I worked for a major financial institution. So when it came time to finance the acquisition of Black, I approached a big bank, only to receive a solid no. That's when Signature Bank stepped in. With Signature Bank, the process was different. Signature provided creative financing options that enabled me to purchase Black and continue to grow the business. Thanks to Signature Bank, Black Industrial is able to continue serving Fortune 500 industry fabricators and contractors with tools and safety supplies as we have since 1893.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You know when you start up a motorcycle and you hear it go vroom, vroom, vroom when it takes off? I was losing that. I was losing my energy. I started using Balance of Nature about 1.5 years ago. Noticed the results immediately, and I went, oh my gosh, this works. This is what I've been missing all my life. I missed my Va-Va Voom. I got it back.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
When it comes to remodeling your home, are you picky, fussy, persnickety, particular, demanding, and just downright hard to please? Do you value quality over speed? Getting it done right over just getting it done? Well then, Mr. and Mrs. Persnickety, do yourself a favor and check out Forever Remodeling. That's the number 4everremodeling.com. To call us perfectionists would be understating our attention to detail. If you said we were OCD when it comes to creating spectacular kitchens, bathrooms, basements, and additions, we'd be guilty as charged. Forever Remodeling takes the time to meticulously get the job done exactly right. So if you're a stickler for details, if your standards are ridiculously high, then check out Forever Remodeling. We can promise you a best of the best of the best experience. Our number is 847-809-3355 or go to foreverremodeling.com. Foreverremodeling.com.
7:39. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Accident in Wheaton at Geneva and Maine. In Round Lake, traffic signals are flashing red all the way around right now. Route 134 and Fairfield Road. 8094 westbound, jammed up between Clay and Klein. Veterans Memorial Toll Road jams up northbound between the International Parkway and I-88. We're looking at delays on the northbound Tri-State between St. Charles and the Grand Avenue curve, and watching the Dan Ryan jam up in the locals between 63rd and Roosevelt, 23 in from 95th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast, clouds and sun, 84. Right now, haze and 61. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and former ABC 7 political reporter Charles Thomas in for Amy J.
That's me.
The big guy and his wife, I think his wife, I don't know if she's coming to town. Who cares? The big guy's coming to town to tout Bidenomics. This wonderful new discipline within the field of economics. Yeah, right. And raise some cash for the re-election campaign at fundraisers hosted by Jelly Belly and his wife, while he does some performative bootlicking in advance of his presidential ambitions. You know, he wants to hang around.
Well, you got to hang around because you never know with old Joe.
Well, you want to hear a great riff on this? Tucker Carlson's latest installment of his show on Twitter, his commentaries on Twitter. He talked about what we've talked about in this show for quite some time, Gavin Newsom waiting in the wings. But he did it in pretty entertaining fashion about how Gavin Newsom is prostrating himself to position himself for some coup attempt or, Deus Ex Machina event that would put him in the pole position for the nomination next year.
Even ahead of Kamala.
Yeah. Kamala. Well, there's two qualities you need, and Gavin Newsom possesses them. But this is not to say Jelly Belly doesn't as well. Take a listen.
But we do know whoever that is will have to have two essential criteria. He'll have to be as shallow, ruthless, and transactional as Joe Biden is, and he'll need to have flattery skills that are so polished and advanced they'd be considered superior even in the Saudi royal court. And there's only one man in modern America who fits that description: Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, and perhaps not coincidentally, Joe Biden's new closest friend. I am here, Mr. President, Newsom told Biden at an event the two did together last week. I am here as a proud American, as a proud Californian, mesmerized by not just your faith and your devotion to this country and the world we're trying to build, but by your results, by your action, by your passion, by your capacity to deliver. I am mesmerized by you, Joe Biden. Imagine saying that as a compliment. We couldn't do it. Few human beings could do it. But Gavin Newsom had no problem at all. Those words rolled right off his forked tongue.
Well, JB will try to be as mesmerized by Joe Biden tonight as Gavin Newsom was recently. So wonderful. By the way, on the situation in terms of Bidenomics, since that's the topic, White House Deputy KJP, another spokeswoman who goes by Olivia Dalton, was asked about the layoffs at Ford. You know, Ford lost $34,000 on every EV it sold last year, which tapped out about $700 million in loss. You know how you make up that, Charles?
By
volume.
Volume?
Volume. Yeah, used to 34. You just got to lose more. $34,000 in every AV, and they're laying off 1,000 people. And this is what Olivia Dalton had to say about that.
Specifically talking about the auto industry, for example, Ford is saying they're laying off workers to afford the cost of the transition to EV. The first quarter of this year, Ford lost $700 million on their EV program, lost $600 million last year. So is that what we can expect with Bidenomics?
Well, I would just say, looking across the economy broadly, we're seeing signs of progress. We're seeing, as I said just a moment ago, record low unemployment, record small business starts, jobs that are coming back by the hundreds of thousands overseas as a result of private investment in clean energy manufacturing in our country.
Thousands of jobs overseas? Well,
yeah, I think she may have misspoke. You know.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
You know, economics, as far as people is concerned, that if it doesn't translate at the grocery store and the gas station, it just doesn't translate. And I'm telling you, I think it's a real dangerous thing to try to tag the economy with a name like Bidenomics.
But it's the same old economics of the left, the same old government-centric industrial policies, and you know, if the old Reagan line, if it moves, tax it; if it keeps moving, regulate it; if it stops moving, subsidize it. There's Bidenomics in a single sentence. Larry Kudlow, by the way, agrees with you, Charles.
In the last 5 quarters or 15 months, the U.S. economy has grown by a paltry, stagnant 1%. 1%, okay? That isn't even growth. It's really a growth recession. You want to compare that. Biden said yesterday he had the fastest growth in the world. By the way, Canada to the north of us is growing at 3%. The EU is stagnant at 1%. India is growing at 6.5%. China's growing at about 4.5%. So I don't know where he gets that. The other point is, we went through it. Look at Biden never talks about inflation. Not just the year-on-year inflation rate, which has come down, as you know, from 9% plus to about 5%. But the actual level of prices since he became president is up 15.6%. And that has been devastating for households. Kitchen table prices have soared. So you've got, for example, in the bottom quintile, you've got wages falling 2.3% in real terms, okay? In the next quintile, these are all lower middle class, wages have dropped 3.9%, and overall, wages have fallen 2.1%. This is the problem with the Biden economy. There's no growth, and real wages have fallen because the level of prices have skyrocketed. Energy prices are up about 40%. Grocery prices are up about 20%. This is why it's going to be a kitchen table economy. It's going to be a pocketbook election, and Biden's numbers are just awful.
For more on this, someone who mesmerizes me like Joe Biden mesmerizes Gavin Newsom. Steve Moore, economist, author of Govzilla. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, good morning, guys. By the way, I don't think I can improve much on what Larry Kudlow just said. I was on his show actually last night, and we were discussing this. But, I'll give you one statistic to top it all off, that the average household in America, since Biden entered office and since we put in place Bidenomics, the average family has lost about $5,500 in real purchasing power. When the White House keeps saying, "Oh, people's incomes are up," they're not adjusting for inflation. And so, by the way, adjusted for inflation over the same time period of Donald Trump's presidency, the income for the average American family was up about $5,000. So it's been a complete reversal. And talk about putting lipstick on a pig. For Biden to go around the country now celebrating Bidenomics when 70% of Americans are saying that the economy is headed in the wrong direction, people are a little bit confused by this.
Yeah, and what about the industrial policy piece of this, too? Because we have the numbers out of Ford that you just heard and that you know, of course. And then also this week, the Chapter 11 filing by Lordstown Motors, which was, the EV plant, electric truck maker that filed for bankruptcy on Tuesday in Lordstown. This was supposed to be a big success. This is from the Trump era, but it's the sort of industrial policies that have punctuated both administrations.
Well, this is so true. And, they tout about all the progress we're making on green energy. Folks, I want to make it very clear that without massive federal subsidies today, there would be virtually no electric vehicle industry. There would be virtually no solar panels, and there wouldn't be wind industry except in some specific locations. And so, yeah, if you pour money into something, and I'm not talking about some money, I'm talking about hundreds of billions of dollars, you're going to be able to erect pyramids. But the fact is, these things are not self-sustaining. And I'll give you another example. Remember the CHIPS Act? Remember that one? We're going to rebuild American semiconductor. Remember that one, Dan?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that was, I forget the price tag. I think it's $80 billion or something like that. And so far, three of the largest recipients, we had something in our hotline today about this. So the three of the largest recipients of that one was a company called Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturer. The second one was, of course, Samsung. Samsung, for those not familiar with it, of course, is a South Korean company. And then the third one is something like Core, K-O-R-E. They're a Chinese company. How is this producing, helping America become the leader in semiconductors when the money is going to foreign companies?
Do we have any Hunter Biden correspondence between the? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure he's probably an investor in these three companies, and so is Joe Biden. But none of this makes any sense. I mean, look, we have dumped so much money into all of these industries, and they never get out of the infancy stage. They keep saying, "Oh, we have to, start them, get them going." No, that's not how. Silicon Valley didn't start with our technology revolution. Didn't start with government. In fact, the reason we had the technology boom, folks, is because we adopted a policy in the '90s, which basically said we're going to basically make the internet tax-free, regulation-free, and lawsuit-free, and it boomed. All we need to do is get the government out of the way. The worst thing to do is subsidize industries.
Well, we have another issue in terms of energy consumption, which is obviously the larger issue about saving the planet, for whom I'm not exactly sure, but we needed to save it. So we got the gas stove issue that's generating a pizza revolt in New York City. Yes. We got the limits, so eliminating gas stoves, now coal and wood-fired stoves as well in New York. We got going after the washing machines as well, got to limit the water usage there. And now dishwashers, current federal limit, as you I'm sure know, 5 gallons per cycle. We've got to drop that down to 3.2 gallons per cycle and reduce the energy consumption of washing machines by 30%.
And these federal bureaucrats are so stupid because, as anyone knows, who's remember the old flush toilets and yes, with the dishwashers. Guess what? You have to flush the toilet twice, so you're not saving any water. And with the energy efficient dishwashers, you have to run the cycle twice. How is that saving any energy? By the way, my friend at Climate Change Depot just did the analysis because this big story about that you can't now have the wood stoves in New York to make their famous wood stove pizzas, and he found out that you'd have to go 600 years without these wood stove pizzas to make up for the amount of carbon emissions from one John Kerry flight around the world saving the planet.
That's great.
That is a good
perfect comparison. I love it. All right, Steve Moore, he's a noted economist. He's also the author of Govzilla. Steve, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
All right, have a great 4th of July weekend. See ya.
You too.
Bye.
And he joins us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
One of the most important decisions you can make as a parent is where you send your kids to school. But these days, it's never been harder to know which school is best. Public schools have changed a lot, and you might be thinking about sending your child to a private Christian school. But you also know that private school can be expensive, and in this economy, you might think it's not an option. Well, think again. With halfpriceschools.com, you can purchase tuition vouchers for half the price of normal tuition for private schools. For nearly 10 years, halfpriceschools.com has helped families from all over Chicagoland make the dream of private school a reality. And that can be the reality for you and your child, too. Just go to halfpriceschools.com, search for a private Christian school near you, and purchase a voucher. It's that easy. Visit halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Cracked brickwork or caulking? Doors or windows that no longer open or shut properly? Permaseal can help with that. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. When you look around your house, do you see uneven floors, gaps under baseboards, basement walls leaning or bowing, new cracks in your drywall or ceiling, or sunken concrete next to your foundation? These can be signs of structural foundation issues that won't get better with time. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL. Too often we hear of homeowners paying for an expensive consultation just to determine the problem. Don't be one of them. We can evaluate your foundation and offer you a permanent solution at absolutely no charge. Since 1979, Permaseal has been committed to providing quality proven products and superior customer service. When the work is done, you'll have a transferable warranty along with priceless peace of mind. And now, through June, you'll save $300 off any structural repair. Call Permaseal 800-421-7325 or visit permaseal.net.
You know when you start up a motorcycle and you hear it go vroom, vroom, vroom when it takes off? I was losing that. I was losing my energy. I started using Balance of Nature about 1.5 years ago. Noticed the results immediately, and I went, oh my gosh, this works. This is what I've been missing all my life. I missed my Vava Voom. I got it back.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
America First with Sebastian Gorka. Today at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having nationwide access with an annual deductible of only $226. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor, C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com, is someone I know and trust. He's a 28-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Sean Thompson here for my friend Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group. There aren't many people who would knowingly leave their job to start another job for a 30% cut in pay. And yet, people do it every day when they enter retirement. Why enter the exciting new chapter of your life with less money? Why trade the stress of work for more stress in retirement? Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group can help. Just call Tom at 630-934-1855 for your complimentary, customized retirement. It addresses many of the big questions you may have, like what to do about Social Security, managing your investments, and how to create income you can never outlive. You can downsize your house, but don't downsize your lifestyle. Get a complimentary, customized retirement plan at 630-934-1855 or visit alphawealthgroup.com. That's alphawealthgroup.com.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, RWA, an SEC registered investment advisor. RWA and Alpha Wealth Group are independent of each other. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com. On the AM 560 mobile app. Tune in, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
Stay indoors. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what some people are being urged to do in Michigan, blanketed there again by Canadian wildfire smoke.
We have air quality alerts for millions of folks now stretching down towards Birmingham, Alabama, and Atlanta, Georgia. So this smoke is traveling southward.
Fox meteorologist Janice Dean says it's especially bad with hazardous air quality readings in parts of Michigan at very unhealthy levels from Milwaukee to Chicago to Cleveland. It's another frustrating day for air travel. Almost 700 flights canceled, more than 1,000 delayed after FlightAware reported more than 4,000 cancellations Monday and Tuesday.
Some of these disruptions were being blamed due to the bad weather. We're talking summer storms the last couple of days and also the nationwide air traffic controller shortage.
Lisette Nunez with Fox 5 TV at Newark, New Jersey's airport, where some people slept overnight again. Some travelers have been delayed for days. President Biden will soon fly to Chicago.
He takes a harder shift into campaign mode this week. The administration is really leaning into an area that has been a weak spot, and that's the economy. Bidenomics is already delivering for the American people, they say. Our economy has added more than 13 million jobs.
Fox's Doug Luzader. Now, President Biden keeps denying involvement in his son's business dealings, but House Republicans have released messages from Hunter using his dad as leverage in a supposed deal in China. And an IRS whistleblower, Gary Shapley, who claims Hunter Biden got special treatment in a tax evasion investigation that led to a misdemeanor plea agreement, tells CBS News.
There were certain investigative steps that we weren't allowed to take that could have led us to President Biden.
And you wanted to take them?
We needed to take them.
And you weren't allowed to take them?
That's correct.
Former President Trump's countersuing E. Jean Carroll for defamation in New York after the author won her lawsuit alleging Trump defamed her. Denying Carroll's allegations of rape decades ago, the jury ordered the former president to pay $5 million. America's listening to Fox News.
62 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 2 died Tuesday night in Will County. Another person was critically hurt in a wrong-way head-on crash on southbound I-55 near Wilmington that shut the interstate down for several hours. Chicago area dealing with some of the worst air quality in the world. The mayor's chief of staff saying the poor air was similar to other emergency weather events.
This is what we would call an extreme. Just as we have extreme heat, extreme cold, this is extremely poor air quality that we're encompassing at the moment.
Large cities in the Great Lakes region like Milwaukee, Cleveland, and Grand Rapids, Michigan even saw worse air quality. The president returning to Chicago today. Joe Biden will be in town delivering an address on the U.S. economy and lining his pockets with re-election campaign cash. Chicago Alderman Bennett Johnson condemning what he called a teen takeover On the north side this week, hundreds of teens gathered Monday night in Lakeview near the Belmont CTA station for what turned out to be a massive riot. Video showed on social media shows teens illegally blocking streets, damaging vehicles, a police squad car, and thousands of dollars in personal and private property. Chicago sports, Cubs lost to the Phillies 5-1. White Sox 4-2 losers to the Angels. The news, a service of Tom Mirabali Insurance. You need a health insurance advocate. You need Tom Mirabali Insurance. Independent Blue Cross Blue Shield agent. Reach Tom at healthplanchicago.com. 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
FTX, the cryptocurrency exchange that collapsed last year, could be relaunched. The Wall Street Journal says Figure, a blockchain tech firm, is looking into the restart. It's believed the exchange's business model was fundamentally viable. Google has been laying off staff in the mapping operation at its Waze driving app. Reuters says the advertising unit for Waze is being merged with Google Ads technology. Google's parent company Alphabet purchased Waze in 2013. Bloomberg is reporting that UBS Group is looking to cut more than half of Credit Suisse's workforce after it took over the bank. Rite Aid shares have been slumping. The drugstore chain has $2.9 billion worth of debt. There are reports it's working with banks and lawyers to reorganize it. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
8:05. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk sees the facade.
This is going to give federal investigators and prosecutors an excuse to close the investigations on Hunter Biden. Oh, he pled guilty. We got it done. We're bipartisan. We go after both parties. This is a veneer of equal justice. It's air cover to go after Donald Trump.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I got to where I was sleeping in and I didn't like that. Within 2 or 3 days, I could tell the difference. Now I'm back to getting up early. I had more energy. I slept better at night. And in my therapy, I'm improving because I've got more energy. I truly believe in these things. I just know how I feel, and I tell everybody I can.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
How far will the left go to win 2024? Will they send out more stimulus checks or give away trillions more to left-wing groups? The simple truth is they don't care if your retirement is eroded down to a fraction of its value. They just want to win. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. I want to encourage you to diversify your 401k or IRA out of paper assets and into a physical gold IRA. And the only company I recommend for gold IRAs is conservative-owned Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898 to get their free info kit on gold IRAs. Do this now before Democrats have a chance to legislate away your life savings. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting PROTECT to the number 989898. There's nothing to buy and no obligation at all. So use your agency. Take action now. Text the word PROTECT to the number 989898.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Hey, I'm Raquel.
And I'm Babette.
Here to invite you to listen to our show, Belly of the Beast,
where we tackle all the hot topics and issues that you are talking about today.
So join us each week for our
hard-hitting,
fun,
informative,
topical,
out there
radio show where we leave nothing on the table.
Belly of the Beast, heard every Saturday evening at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer. And follow us on Facebook at Belly of the Beast IL.
It is 8:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg traffic center time. Inbound Edens at 28 minutes, Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy, an hour 20 from O'Hare to the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike on the inbound side, it's an hour from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson, 50 minutes now from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. And the Dan Ryan in right now, 26 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Bishop Ford inbound, an accident just reported at 159th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Sunshine, a few clouds today. Distant wildfires causing some haze. Look for a high of 84. Partly cloudy shower and thunderstorm tonight, low 68. Some sun tomorrow, strong thunderstorm. It'll be humid, the high tomorrow at 91. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
64 degrees at O'Hare. Next News 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J this morning is former ABC 7 political reporter Charles Thomas.
Yep.
Charles, we discussed this story yesterday. Well, the school and the stories around it. The school is called the Life Preparatory School for Boys. It's located in Albany, Georgia. It's founded by a young gentleman named King Randall I. And Uncover DC did a site visit and got a sense of what's happening there at the Life Preparatory School for Boys. It focuses on young black men and turning boys into men, young boys into men. And also, it was in the news because, unfortunately, it suffered an attack. The school did. Vandals destroyed a number of areas of the school, ripped sinks out of the walls and so on and so forth. And so there's been an effort afoot, of course, to make the school whole and keep King Randall's work going forward. This is a little flavor. We played it yesterday, but I think it bears another listen to, just to give you a sense of what's going on at the Life Preparatory School for Boys and why maybe it's finding some success in terms of the students it's turning out.
All 90s and above is what I expect for all your classwork, you understand?
Yes, sir.
I mean that all 90s and above, that's all I should see on your progress reports and your grades, you understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm creating an environment for all of you to have all A's in all your classes, got it?
Yes, sir.
I don't want to hear any excuses about it. You will have all A's. If you got an A in the class and he got a B, go fix him, you understand?
Yes, sir.
And that works for everybody. Everybody help each other with your classes. This is teamwork. Y'all do everything here as a team. You eat, sleep, and breathe as a team, you understand?
Yes, sir.
That's what I expect from all of you today. So today is your first day of class. I expect high energy, I expect high volume, and I expect you guys to be doing and completing your work. You understand?
Yes, sir.
We good?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Doesn't sound like they're messing around at the Life Preparatory School for Boys.
It sounds a bit extreme, but you got to keep in mind that the culture is teaching young black boys extreme victimhood these days. So you've got to counter it. And King Randall is trying to counter this extreme victimhood that is being taught to young black boys right now. And I stand by that.
Well, yeah. And I mean, and what's, all cliches are true. Kids crave discipline. And what it sounds like is happening at the Life Preparatory School is we're going to have a disciplined environment. We're going to get down to business so that you can get down to business in terms of advancing your life. That makes sense to me.
And with 72% of, or 70-some percent, let's say, because the number is high and fluctuates, of black children being raised in single-parent homes without fathers, primarily. They need it. You have to compensate for what they're missing, and this school is doing that.
Well, let's get more of the details on what exactly the Life Preparatory School for Boys model is. King Randall I joins us. King Randall, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. How are you?
Good
morning.
Good. So we got a little sense of the roll call there at school, but give us your story in terms of this vision quest that you're on, what inspired you to do it, and what the model is.
Sure. Well, the Extra Boys Life Preparatory School, it started in 2022. That's when the school opened. Our after-school program was birthed when I was 19 years old back in 2019. I started out teaching young men how to work on cars and work on houses, and also teaching them how to grow their own food and teaching them how to read. I started doing all these things because where we live in Albany, Georgia, is one of the poorest cities in the country. And a lot of our boys can't afford the true teaching that they need. On top of over 80% of our parents here in Albany are single moms. And our boys need some consistent father figures and mentors in their lives, not twice a week, not once a week, but consistent everyday teaching for them. And that's where we came in at. I decided to start this program out of my home. I didn't have a building. I didn't have any fancy stuff. I started out of my home with some tables I got somebody to give me and a small dry erase board I bought from Staples. And that's where we started at. And from there, we grew all the way to the school that we have now. In 2022, that's when we opened, and we had our first successful year this year. All of our students passed their Georgia Milestones test, and they've been growing. They've been learning how to read. All of our overweight students have lost weight. And, a lot of people hear the discipline and think the kids would hate it, but our kids, don't even want to go home half the time. Even with us disciplining them, they don't even want to go home because they get 3 full meals a day, somebody that loves them. They go on field trips. They're learning. They enjoy school at the end of the day. So that's just a brief idea of, who I am and what I do.
How many students do you have at the school now?
We have 9 students in our school. Our school is a free boarding school, so it's free of tuition. We take care of our students by donors only. We don't receive any government funding for our schools, so that way we can keep beating to our own drum and dancing to our own music, so to speak. So we have 9 students in our actual boarding school, and then for our after-school program, we have about 60 to 70 children.
And where are you recruiting, the others? I assume you sound like you're pretty hands-on in terms of instruction, but other instructors and counselors, the rest of the staff, they're all from the area as well?
Yes, all of our staff is from the area. Our headmistress, her name is Alex. She's a graduate from the University of Georgia, but she grew up in Albany, Georgia, like us. And also our other instructor is a classmate of mine. She went to school with me for a number of years, and she came on, and my younger brother, and I also have my junior instructors that come also. Some of our students who've been in the program for such a long time that they are now junior instructors, and they're instructing the newer kids that are coming aboard.
And so I know this school is in its infancy. You say you opened last year, but what's the what are the metrics you're trying to meet? Where do you hope to be in 5 and 10 years, and what's the community response been in terms of encouragement?
In 5 to 10 years, I hope to eradicate our public school system. I wish for every child to be able to go to a school where they're actually learning what they should know and not what the school systems nowadays are trying to indoctrinate our children with. I believe our children need to be learning manhood and even womanhood. So we're in the process of actually trying to find partners to actually start an all-girls school, too. But that's the ultimate aim. I want to get rid of our public school system because of what's happening there and the failures that they're having our children go through. Every day it's complete nonsense at our schools now, from children having sex at schools to doing drugs at school to the constant fighting, the teachers not being able to teach, etc. This is all day, every day. The schools are a jungle. And this is our middle and high schools. So that's the goal for me, and also for our children to actually know how to read and graduate being proficient in math and reading. Our students are graduating here functionally illiterate. Only 19% of our students are graduating proficient in math, and just under 39% of our children are graduating proficient in reading. They're graduating high school not being able to read and write and do math, and we're expecting them to be upstanding citizens. Absolutely not. Our students are prepared not for life at all.
Where's the pushback coming from?
The original pushback did come from our local school system. I actually tried to partner with them originally, but they did not wish for me to open a school as they cited me as competition. But I was actually trying to partner and have something joint with them. But they saw us as competition, and we've gotten pushback because a lot of conservatives do support our mission. We have, Democrats support our mission as well. But because, they feel like you have to pick sides, a lot of people give us pushback from there. And, of course, I'm big on doing for self. Most people want to keep pumping funding into the public school system, and I just think that's crazy because we keep giving them millions of dollars every year. Our school system got $30 million last year, and these schools are still in trash. They look terrible. They're not renovating anything, and the kids aren't learning. The teachers are underpaid and understaffed and underserved, and it's just a lot, and the kids aren't able to learn. I mean, that's where we are. So I don't think it's smart to keep giving funding to the schools.
Are the opponents black? Many of them?
Yes, our superintendent is black. Most of the school board is black. Our city commission is black. Our fire marshals who did the inspections on our buildings are black, etc. Everybody is mostly black here. Our mayor is white, but he just got elected a couple of years ago. But for the most part, all of our pushback comes from people who look like me.
I saw there were arrests made in the break-in that you that was described in that Uncover DC story, as well as you posted online about it. So, what's the situation there? You had to hold these alleged offenders at gunpoint until police arrived, and the damage done to the school, and what you're doing about it, how people can help.
Sure. Yes, our students and I went to go play basketball at our school building. And one of our back windows was broken, and we entered the school and saw it completely destroyed. And if you want to go online and actually see the full story, I'm at New Emerging King on all social media platforms. But we saw the school completely destroyed, and when we walked in, I heard, noise. And I told my younger students to, go back outside and get back in the van and lock the door. And I went upstairs with two of my older students who would not leave my side. And we caught them in there, and I held them at gunpoint until the police got there. Fortunately, the police got there very quickly. I will say it was like they were maybe already around the corner, and they came very fast to the building, and they arrested the perpetrators.
And by the way, what grades for the school here? These
the school is
students in what grades?
Sure. The school starts in sixth grade. We start all students in sixth grade, and they will grow with us all the way through high school. So our students from last year are going to the seventh grade, and then we're planning to take a few more sixth graders coming in.
And the so the students that went with you and they saw this with you and they saw the assailants. So you sort of indicated the way it was described that maybe they weren't just looking to steal something. Maybe this was targeted because of what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, like I explained, I'm like, stealing stuff is different from destruction, because people who come to steal, they just come to steal. They might mess up a few things, but to pull sinks out of the walls, to smash all the glass on the inside of the building, to rip doors off hinges, I mean, it was just complete nonsense, throwing our pictures everywhere, destroying our school picture logos, and pulling baseboards off the walls, and throwing the fire extinguishers everywhere. I mean, it was just madness. It was madness.
And what do parents, not just of the students, but parents, other adults that have now gotten wind of this school, what are they saying in Albany?
For the most part, most people wish they could send their children to my school, and I honestly wish I had the funding to be able to take as many of them as possible. But I know it'll come soon. We're in the process of trying to start businesses for our school that we could, make money from, so we don't have to continue only using donors. So that way we can make just more money to be able to take care of tuition for our students. So that way we can take more kids, because more parents want their children to come attend with me, but I just don't have the capacity, space, or the funding for so many.
I tell you, man, black male victimhood is a huge business in this country, and deadly business, and deadly for black males. That's all I can say. And God bless you, man. I hope that you're able to persevere because there are a lot of people out to stop you who have been profiting on blackmail victimhood. And
absolutely,
yeah. God bless you.
All right, King Randall. So where can people? I'm looking at. I clicked the link on your Twitter profile to at the X for Boys. Is that where people should donate if they want to support your school and your efforts?
Yes, you can go to the xforboys.org. That's THEXFORBOYS.org. You can go there to see how to donate. You can go there and see all of our photos and pictures and videos. You can go there to reach me via email. And we don't just have, where you have to donate monetary funds. You could give on the Amazon wish list. You could send the boys letters. Whatever you like to do, we have a way for you to be able to reach out to us and help.
All right, King Randall the First. He's a community shifter, as he described himself, founder of the Life Preparatory School for Boys in Albany, Georgia. Again, the xforboys.org is where you can support and communicate. King Randall, thanks so much for joining us. Godspeed with the work that you're doing down there.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and he joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
The debt ceiling crisis has come to a head. The administration is doing its best to force more government spending. They've reached a settlement to get the deal done for now, but our national debt continues to skyrocket. How are you protecting your savings? Times like these are when concerned savers like me turn to gold. It's really smart to do so, and I, like thousands of similar-minded people, buy my gold from Birch Gold. Birch Gold Group. Text Mike to 989898. They'll help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. You don't pay 1 penny out of pocket. As BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa band together against the dollar, more and more central banks are diversifying. You know what they're buying? Gold. I urge you to follow their lead. Just text Mike to 989898. We'll send you a free info kit on gold. No obligation, just great information. They've got an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of happy customers like me. Text Mike to 989898. Take action today with Birch Gold Group.
You can shed that fat, be slimmer for the summer. No more wearing cover-ups or T-shirts in the pool. NJ Diet will help you the natural way. There are no shots, no hormones, and no surgery. You'll lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40-plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with bioenergetic scans, to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone so you can finally lose the weight. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Best of all, it's contractually guaranteed. You're fully supervised the entire time to make sure you're burning fat, not just losing water. And you even get Dr. T's personal email and phone number. Dr. T, Dr. Turovitz, is the founder of NJ Diet. NJ Diet has locations close by in Skokie and Oak Brook, or is available from home with live online video consultations. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET. Or schedule a consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com.
If you're selling your home or purchasing a new home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Team Hochberg is offering every listener the Perks at Work benefit, which can save you thousands of dollars on your next real estate transaction. Here's how it works. When a Team Hochberg affiliated realtor sells your home, they'll reduce their fee up to 1%. When a Team Hochberg affiliated realtor helps you purchase a home, you will receive up to 1% of their commission in the form of a closing cost credit. Team Hochberg will credit all of your loan origination fees, and our affiliated attorney will reduce his fee. Last year, a couple who was buying and selling a home saved close to $9,000 with the Team Hochberg Perks at Work program. To learn how you can save thousands of dollars on your next real estate transaction, please give me a call now at 855-56-DAVID or visit our website, 56david.com. That number again is 855-563-2843 or visit our website, 56david.com. Lower.com, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, We have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Are you considering a unique way to enhance your investment knowledge this year? Then sign up today for the all-inclusive Eagle Financial Publications Cruise. Along with our trusted partner, The Money Show, we're setting sail this December to explore some of the most beautiful and unspoiled destinations in the Caribbean. But this is no ordinary vacation. It's a chance to learn from top Eagle financial experts like best-selling authors George Gilder, Mark Skousen, and others who will be hosting a series of workshops and seminars throughout the trip. Imagine lounging on the sun deck while discussing investment strategies with like-minded individuals, or enjoying a gourmet dinner at the same table with one of our leading financial authorities. This once-in-a-lifetime cruise is a perfect way to combine education and relaxation to achieve your investment goals. This cruise will sell out quickly, so visit EagleFinancialCruise.com today to learn more and to secure your cabin. That's EagleFinancialCruise.com. Eagle Financial is a division of Salem Media Group.
When this is the sound of a crackling campfire on a cool evening, you can sit back and relax. But when it's the sound of your counters and cabinets smoking and smoldering following a house fire that's affected your entire kitchen, you need to pick up the phone and call 1-800-SERVPRO. Only the cleanup and restoration specialists at ServPro can help make fire and water damage like it never even happened. So make the call to 1-800-SERVPRO when fire damage strikes. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Hi, I'm Test Director Rick from ServPro, the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. It's my job to make sure our pros are prepared for anything. Storm damage? Fixed. Flood damage? We're on it. Fire damage? Not anymore. Aliens? What? Aliens? We cleaned those sites a while ago. No matter the disaster, our pros will make it like it never even happened. Find out why ServPro is the #1 choice for residential and commercial restoration projects large and small. Visit servpro.com today.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I got to where I was sleeping in, and I didn't like that. Within 2 or 3 days, I could tell the difference. Now I'm back to getting up early. I had more energy. I slept better at night. And in my therapy, I'm improving because I've got more energy. I truly believe in these things. I just know how I feel, and I tell everybody I can.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Guys, there's a lot of people talking about testosterone, but do your homework and be sure to go to a provider you can trust. I've been recommending my friends at Low T Center for 8 years. It's where I get my levels checked. Low T Center exclusively specializes in men's wellness. They check all your levels, not just your testosterone, and determine the cause of any symptoms you're having, and whether you're a candidate for low T or something else like low thyroid or sleep apnea. Typically, their annual health assessment is completely covered by health insurance. And they check everything, including your PSA, which is your prostate levels. And they check thyroid, liver and kidney function, cholesterol, glucose levels, and more. Low T Center has affordable and convenient options for treatment, including monitored self-inject treatment that ships directly to you each month, so there's no need to come to the center each week. Make your health a priority and schedule your annual health assessment at Low T Center today. It's covered by most health insurance or less than $100 cash pay. Visit lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Tell them Dan Prof sent you. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up at 8:38, No Trade is Free. That's the title of the new book by Trump U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer. He joins us at 8:38 to discuss. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
8:32, hazy skies, 64 degrees. From smoke to excessive heat, large swath of the country is facing dangerous conditions today. We're following the financial markets this morning as UBS has just announced they plan to cut more than half of the workforce of Credit Suisse after that bank's emergency takeover. Severe weather disrupting air travel ahead of the 4th of July national holiday.
It's chaos down here. One woman behind me in line told me she's been told to be prepared to be stuck here until Saturday. Everybody is so stressed out. People are yelling, people are mad.
Airports in the Northeast are dealing with most of the issues. The Justice Department slamming the Bureau of Prisons in a series of events that led to Jeffrey Epstein's death. The disgraced financier committed suicide in a cell in 2019. Here locally, too, our dad in Will County, another person critically hurt after a head-on wrong-way crash on southbound Interstate 55 near Wilmington overnight. A 16-year-old boy is dead following a drive-by shooting on the west side in the 4100 block of West 15th. President Joe Biden returning to Chicago today. Biden in town delivering an economic address and lining his pockets with re-election campaign cash. The FBI asking for the public's help in locating a suspect involved in a bank robbery in Western Springs Tuesday afternoon. And the city of Aurora is now jumping into the fray, trying to lure the bears to that western suburb. Aurora Mayor Richard Irvin sent his letter in to Bears President and CEO Kevin Warren, expressing his city's interest along with Naperville, Waukegan, and Arlington Heights. Cubs lost to the Phillies 5-1. White Sox lost to the Angels 4-2. The Blackhawks secure their future tonight in round 1 of the NHL draft in Nashville. Hawks have the first pick overall and number 19 in the first round. The news, a service of MyPillow. MyPillow 2.0 is buy one, get one free with promo code LIBERTY. And a check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher explains Trump's surge.
Sunday morning shows yesterday, they're all in various levels of hysteria over Trump. They cannot figure out why he keeps surging in popularity. They don't even understand it. Newsflash, Americans are rejecting the politically motivated prosecution that he's undergoing.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
So did you know that June is Men's Health Month? Why not? Everybody's got a month. We've just been through a major pandemic. 3 years of your life has been stolen, and now we have to stick around a little while longer. Well, it turns out blood pressure is one of the leading causes of heart attacks. 1 out of every 3 men have it. Most men don't even know it. If you haven't done it, there's an easy way to take care of yourself. And the simplest way is 120 Life. 120 Life is a natural juice drink that helps lower blood pressure without the side effects of pills. Just drink 1 8-ounce bottle a day, which is exactly what I do, and your blood pressure numbers will go down within 2 weeks. Order now. Visit online, 120life.com. That's 120life.com. And now for a limited time, you can save 15%. The coupon code is SUMMER, SUMMER. Save 15%. Coupon code SUMMER, 120life.com. Money back guarantee. Order now. Visit online, 120life.com. That's 120life.com. We need more stuff like this.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Freedom Square is an unbelievable service designed to unite freedom-loving Americans. I know these guys. They love their country and they're doing an amazing job. You can log on now to create your free personalized dashboard. All of your favorite news sites, podcasters, all on one site, all at your fingertips. Sign up your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with freedom-loving Americans. Look, people want businesses they can support. You want to know the good guys from the bad guys. That's freedomsquare.com. Log on right now and create your personalized dashboard. Join us in the fight, so check it out. freedomsquare.com. Freedom lives here.
Let's welcome our new Freedom Square Business Network members. Lore TV, DS Arms Lake Barrington, Villa Park Office Equipment, and Every Black Life Matters. It's time to unite and vote with your dollars. Download the Freedom Square app and register your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with patriots. Freedom Square. Freedom lives here.
.837. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. It's a service of Lowe's. Shop the best deals of the summer now at Lowe's. Save big on select patio furniture, accessories, 50% off. Lowe's knows July 4th savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offer valid through 6/28. Selection varies by location while supplies last. The inbound Kennedy at 90 minutes from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike, 52 minutes inbound, 390 to the old post office. Stevenson in 50 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. The outbound side has an accident on the left-hand shoulder between Western and Central. Dan Ryan inbound, accident just reported. 2 right lanes blocked inbound between the 57 Bishop Ford merge and 87. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds and sun today, hazy skies and a high of 84. Couple of showers and maybe a thunderstorm overnight, low 68. 64 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. America First with Sebastian Gorka, today at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J. This morning is former ABC7 political reporter Charles Thomas.
This has been a great program this morning. I've really enjoyed it.
That's what we do every day. Radio excellence, you know?
Mm.
Yeah, we'll send this tape to the Museum of Broadcast Communications to make sure Dumont gets a copy. We got another good topic here because, you know, this was one of the topics that created the most debate and dissension in GOP ranks during the Trump years, and that was trade policy. A lot of conservatives are oriented towards free trade, and a lot of conservatives and free traders, free market types, saw the use of tariffs and other restrictions in trade as anathema to their free market sensibilities. Although they're definitely, even if you're a free trader, even if you're in like the Hayekian sense, it is difficult to argue, I've come to conclude, and many others have too, it's not just me, difficult to argue that what we thought we were doing by bringing communist China into the global community, conferring MFN status, most favored nation trading status, that we were going to liberalize President Xi and company. And in point of fact, it's impossible to argue that that has occurred. What we've done, really, in retrospect, is underwrite the rise of China to a large degree, haven't we? So it's a complicated discussion, which is why we're pleased to be joined by Robert Lighthizer, who is President Trump's U.S. Trade Representative. His new book, No Trade is Free, Changing Course, Taking on China, and Helping American Workers. Robert Lighthizer, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. I look forward to the discussion.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I got to say, I paging through your book, I didn't like seeing a Keynes quote there before the table of contents. But, you know, I get the point about changing facts and changing your mind and so forth. The impact you think that the approach to China had, the use of tariffs had on the American economy during the Trump years?
Well, let me say first of all, in this analysis, one has to start with the proposition that China is an existential threat and a hostile adversary, right? Because if they're not those things, if they're not trying to stop the American dominance of the world, if they're not an opponent, then you have one direction you go in. So let's assume that we've started with the proposition that we understand how bad they were and how foolish that policy from the 90s that you alluded to, this notion that if you transfer enough wealth from America to China, that they'll become like Switzerland. The communists are going to become like a bunch of, burgers in Geneva, right? So that was complete nonsense. So once you do that, then the question is, how do you change? How do you stop, to sort of use Churchill's analogy, feeding the crocodile that's going to eat you? And that's basically what we're doing right now. We're transferring huge amount of wealth. They're stealing technology. We're literally building the biggest army in the world, and it is in China, the biggest navy, and it is in China. So we have to do something to stop it. And what President Trump did was begin that process. I call it strategic decoupling, not just total break off of everything, but you can have some trade with them, but it has to be balanced so that you're not net transferring money to them. It can't be in technology so that you're not allowing them to steal the technology, and it has to be in the interest of the United States. So those tariffs and that phase one agreement, which China ended up not keeping, were really, really an important, I say, a monumental change in direction and a beginning. This is another Churchill quote. This is not the end or even the beginning of the end. This is the end of the beginning. What he did was what Trump did was the beginning of a whole new policy. Until now, I was hopeful that the Biden people would keep most of it. Now I have complete faith in them. I think they are, for whatever reason, they either don't understand the nature of the crisis or they're playing some other game. I don't know which it is, but all of their recent actions and words have been very conciliatory to China at a time when China is becoming more and more and more and more aggressive towards us. So it's a sign of weakness, and it's not something, if you look at history, being weak in the face of an aggressive militaristic dictator has not paid good benefits in the past.
Well, but just on the issue of premise, you start from the premise that China is a existential threat to the country, and that drives different trade policies than it would with a country that's seen as an ally and maybe a competitive but also collaborative. Well, okay, but if that's true, then explain the use of tariffs against some of our Western allies that also occurred during the Trump years.
All right, so let's sort of set aside the question of China right now, and let's talk about trade policy generally. You made the point that, which I hear from time to time, that a lot of conservatives consider themselves to be free traders. Well, I consider myself to be a conservative, but I'm certainly not a free trader. And I look at the essence of what free trade is about. It's about consumption. It's about materialism. It's not about the same as what conservatives are about, which is maintaining values and the institutions that are of most benefit to Americans. And if you look back at like Alexander Hamilton was no free trader, and many people would say he's the father of American conservatism. You look at the 12 presidents who were Republicans, Lincoln, who was the first, all the way through to Eisenhower, none of them were free traders. They all believed in using tariffs. You look at Ronald Reagan, a libertarian said Ronald Reagan was the most protectionist president since Hoover. They hated his trade policy. And then you look at President Trump. So I don't think that it's necessarily true that conservatives are free traders. And I think really the essence of being a conservative is quite contrary to the essence of free trade. We're about production and values and families and institutions that benefit community. We're not about consumption and optimizing prices and corporate profits.
But I mean, you would. I'll just ask the question. I don't know what you'll concede, but you would also, part of that being about the family is about increasing the purchasing power of the family. And if, as Bastiat said, you look at all of these transactions through the eyes of the consumer, then, the idea of comparative advantage and reducing the costs of goods that have substitutes for the American family, that's a positive byproduct. I'm not saying it exists in a silo, but you would have to say that's a positive byproduct. You want competition to reduce the price of goods and services to increase the purchasing power of the American family.
Well, so I would say we don't have there's something to what you say. I don't want to dismiss it, but would just say I don't think we have a too little consumption problem in America. Our problem is too little production. Our problem is that people don't want to, that people don't work and don't get the intrinsic value of work. That's where our problem is. And I would say, sure, if all things are even, I'd rather have a cheaper this or a cheaper that. But I don't want to do it if it means that at the margin I'm going to lose communities in Chicago because their television set is $10 cheaper. You follow what I mean?
No,
These are not logical. For a conservative, they're not logical trade-offs.
No, I do, but the problem comes in, the complication comes in the central planning. I mean, we were talking to Steve Moore earlier in the show about the bankruptcy of Lordstown Motors, which was, touted as a wonderful thing that happened to a business brought to a community in Ohio that was struggling. And, everybody wants to see those businesses succeed. But the idea that central planners pursuing industrial policy have, superior knowledge to the general marketplace, that doesn't bear out oftentimes. And so while it's sort of like that's good in theory, too, that the idea you want to protect communities, not just go for the lowest common denominator, the lowest price. But oftentimes you end up just making the wrong call, as we see in Lordstown.
Look, for sure, to the extent we can, we want to bow to the market on these things. And we have plenty of competition in the United States and with allies. We don't need it with China. So, least of all, unfair competition. But let me just, and I agree with Steve on the point about Lordstown. So let me just state that outright. But if that is proof that central planning doesn't work, all right, which is kind of the assumption you're making, then I would just point out that the biggest car companies in the world, by far, the biggest production, the biggest export, the biggest everything, are all in China, and they're all centrally planned. So don't be careful how far you go with one example of a clearly a mistake in Lordstown, because.
Well, yeah, but I mean, because they're centrally planned in China doesn't mean that's a model we want to adopt. Doesn't mean that the Chinese are producing a superior product, and the cost they're imposing on, I don't know, Uyghur Muslims, that's not a road we want to obviously go down either. So the way that China does it is not something to emulate, as I know you agree.
No, I do agree with that. But I'll give you another example. And once again, all I'm saying is these things are nuanced. They're not cut and dry like some people like to think. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Airbus would exist if it wasn't for government? It's like the biggest plane manufacturer in the world. It wouldn't exist except for the fact that a bunch of four countries got together and just sort of created it. So you can do this stuff. You have to be careful. I agree with you completely. Your first instinct has to be, let's let the market do it. But if you're in a position, for example, like semiconductors, where you find China is investing $500 billion in it, Europe is investing $300 billion in it, Japan is investing $250-300 billion, and Korea is investing $200 billion. You can't then, in that case, say, no, we're not going to do that, because that violates the market. What you will end up with is you'll be a colony. All you'll do is have, you won't have any technology. So both extremes are wrong. Both do it all the way China does it, but do it not at all, that's wrong too. And what we have to do is figure out a smart way to do it in the middle.
If you were advising the next Republican nominee for president, what do we do with China, maybe with respect to trade policy, that would exacerbate the internal contradictions in any communist country, including China? What would be a couple of, here are 3 concrete things, 1, 2, 3, 4 concrete things we could and should do prospectively with respect to China that could have an impact to benefit American manufacturers and consumers, frankly, in the next regime?
So I have a whole bunch of them in the back of the book, a lot of specifics. But I would say the most important single thing is we have to stop feeding the crocodile that wants to devour us. And that means, one, you have to put tariffs on, particularly things like technology, which we did, but high enough to get to balanced trade. In other words, we have to get rid of that. It's officially $380 billion trade deficit that we shift to them, but it's probably unofficially, because of some stupid bookkeeping in the United States, probably closer to $500 billion. We have to put in place tariffs to raise those prices. Now, will that translate into cost to our consumers? In some cases, not at all, because we put them on. You just buy it someplace else, or it'll come to America. Short term, maybe a small effect, but I would say it's worth it once you realize the nature of the problem. So I would put tariffs on to get the balanced trade. The second thing I would do, I would begin the process of disentangling all technology from them. We can't have, if we're going to go to war with them at some point, we can't have them, know where all our tanks are and all our airplanes are, because their chips and their material are in all of those things now, and that's insanity. So we really have to disentangle the technology. And then the third thing I think we have to do is restrict investment from the United States into China, which is all done to benefit China. So the Chinese make the decision, this or that rich guy can get a little richer, but it's going to help me, China, more. We have to restrict all that and restrict their investments in the United States, which are largely designed to get an economic advantage for China, to get data, and to get technology. So if you did those things, and by the way, if you stop the transfer of wealth in China, what effect will that have on China? It's basically the amount of money we're transferring is basically the amount of economic growth they have. It would put real pressure on the Chinese Communist Party.
It would be a lot of bad news to the Biden family, but I digress. Robert Lighthizer, Trump administration U.S. trade rep, author of the new book.
Maybe they would sue him. Maybe they would sue him.
Yeah, right. The new book from Robert Lighthizer, No Trade is Free: Changing Course, Taking on China, and Helping America's Workers. Robert Lighthizer, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I really enjoyed it.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
For over a decade, SimpliSafe has revolutionized home security, and our latest advancement is here, 24/7 LiveGuard protection, only from SimpliSafe. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's Medi-Share. Maybe you've heard switching to Medi-Share to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for Medi-Share is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Medi-Share works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 844-47-BIBLE. That's 844-47-BIBLE. 844-47-BIBLE.
This is Sean Thompson, and I'm proud to tell you about the great work of the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, a new partner of ours here at AM 560. Born on America's darkest day of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been helping America's heroes ever since. When a first responder or military service member doesn't come home and young children are left behind, Tunnel to Towers pays the mortgage on the family home to lift the financial burden and bring stability. For catastrophically injured veterans and first responders, Tunnel to Towers builds mortgage-free smart homes, giving our most severely injured heroes the ability to live more independent lives. You can help America's heroes and their families by supporting the Tunnel to Towers Foundation when you make a small donation of just $11 a month. Go to T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org. T2T.org.
Hi, I'm Randy Donnelly from Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois. I want to talk to you about items that you are considering selling. You already know that Donnelly Auctions specializes in things like guns and military, automobiles and motorcycles, and Petroliana. But I want to help you sell what you have collected. We have sold collections of police and fire badges, coin collections, and we've set a world record price for our last license plate auction. I may not be a magician, but I can make your collection disappear and reappear as money in your wallet. Donnelly Auctions is a worldwide marketplace with warehouses of collectibles. If you're selling, we can get you top dollar. If you're a buyer, you can find collectibles that you just can't find anywhere else. Monthly auctions you can view and bid online as well. Contact me at 815-923-7000 or through our website at DonnellyAuctions.com for a free, no-obligation consultation. I'm Randy Donnelly, and I'll see you at the auction.
AM 560, The Answer.
A friend of mine responding to that letter from the Chicago real estate agent who said if everybody put their effort into trying to improve it instead of leaving, the problems in Chicago are solvable. He said, yeah, that's the same thing the Ayatollah said to the Iranian hostages in 1979. Very good. All right, Charles Thomas, thanks so much. Great
mañana,
day.
señor.
Great day of discussions. It is now 9 o'clock. WIND, AM.
He's on his way to Chicago. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's where President Biden will tout his economic agenda.